Hello, everyone. Welcome to election night. This is a massive election, and we're glad to have all of you here on board with us. And as far as I know, we're almost the only ones streaming about the election in English. So welcome aboard. I hope that you're going to have a fun time with us. We know it's been a stressful day. And Lambertus, you're not in your studio. You're in somewhere a little bit different today. Can you tell us where you are?
Yeah, man, I'm actually in Budapest in Hungary. So we've had an EU Made Simple live or travel event, whatever you want to call it, all the way here to actually see these elections firsthand. And we talked to so many local people, so many little reels, clips, made a video, everything to follow everything here. And Paul, the funny thing is, I am supposed to be at the Tisa event, but the 5G network just crashed, man, and I couldn't do the live stream from there. So we have something special planned for the audience, and that is two of our EU Made Simple colleagues are at the TISA event, and they will also go to the Fidesz event later. So hopefully, if the network allows it, we can get them on the live stream later, and hopefully reporting on either a win, more likely on the TISA side, and then also the more likely loss on the Fidesz side. Of course, nothing's determined yet, but that's what the polls are really telling us. So yeah, it's going to be a long night, man, but we're going to try to get some live footage from these events and maybe also get some actual people at these events talking in our live stream today.
Yeah, it's good to have a view of both of these things. I can say myself, I'll be quite happy to see the tears of joy on Tisa's side and potentially tears of sadness on the Fidesz side. But I guess only time will see if that happens.
You're being so impartial, Paul. Very impartial of you.
I'm very honest. I'll keep it that way.
Man, the thing is, I mean, I talked to actually quite a few Fidesz voters the last couple of days too, man, and it's very, very interesting. And the Orban event was completely full with loads of people, loads of Orban voters. And I thought, there was all this talk about buses coming up with people filling the Orban event. And I'm sure that's true, but I didn't see it at this event. These were some like hardcore Fidesz supporters who were very, very convinced that tonight is not going to go Tisa's way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a recurring theme, especially those who are on the hard kind of MAGA movements, who are on the hard anti-EU, hard Trumpists, right? They're actually quite fervent in their beliefs. I don't know if you've had the opportunity now to talk to many of them. It's quite interesting, just the complete difference in opinion on many topics. Completely
Incredible.
Different.
Yeah.
And I think it's not even a fundamental, some people argue, they're fundamentally bad people or not bad people, right? But both will argue the sides. I think it's just clear evidence of how much this election has been radicalized in terms of how it's been, made into a make or break scenario, especially what Fidesz has been doing, what Viktor Orbán has been doing regarding all that propaganda that you must have seen if you watched our most recent video, actually, a fantastic video on your channel, and a clip that we've seen on the live streams as well.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. That's what I find so interesting, right? Because the way I report it, for me, the way I see it as as a non-Hungarian from Germany, from far away, I'm like, man, Orban, he needs to go, right? Like if you look at it from a European perspective. But then the funny thing is, if you're then standing in this Fidesz crowd who are supporting Orban, they are seeing Péter Magyar as the big evil villain, not Fidesz, right? Not Orban. And the reasons they state, I mean, the Fidesz propaganda has landed, man, like seriously. Like if you check out our reels on our channel, there is literally like we talk to older Hungarian men, especially here, and man, the Ukraine war, and this one Hungarian older man was like in front of me, like literally looking at me in Hungarian, and I had a translator next to me. It's like, do you want to go to war in Ukraine? Do you want to fight? I don't want my son to die in Ukraine. Like that's how he talked to me. And it was very, very intense, and he was very, very convinced that Fidesz and Orban was the guy that was going to protect Ukraine from war. I mean, not Ukraine, but from Hungary from war.
Yeah, it's very radicalized. I mean, you saw the posters everywhere on the streets. I don't know if people have seen these pictures. Unfortunately, we don't have them on us right now, but pictures of pamphlets all across the streets of Hungary. Yeah. You've got Facebook posts on groups, pro-Orban groups. I actually have some family who lives in Hungary, both orthodontists, and they're massive Orban supporters for exactly that reason. They're terrified of having to go to war with Ukraine, even though they are French. So figure that out.
Yeah, that makes sense, Paul. That makes flippant sense.
It makes a lot of sense. We have a couple of questions from the chat, so I'd like to get the chat involved as much as possible. MNGX1 is asking, and this is quite a critical question, when will we see the final results?
Yeah. So this, like your guess is as good as mine, right? So I talked to my Hungarian expert here on the ground, and he said from 8 o'clock onwards, things can start trickling in, but more likely would probably be 9 o'clock. So quite a long time away. So, there's quite a bridge to cross. But if we do have Hungarians in the chat, and if you hear something, let us know. We are on the official website, and I will be hearing from the EU Made Simple colleagues on the ground at the events. So I think we'll know soon enough when the first results start trickling in.
I'd like to give a little bit of a reminder as well. Last election in 2022, 50% of the votes were counted at around 10 p.m. So there is a bit of leeway here, as you were saying. Votes trickling in. This is not like in France or in Germany where you just have like an exit poll. So it'll be a bit of a wait, but hopefully we can get an idea and build it through the night. I mean, I think there's a lot you have to teach from us, Lambertus, for the Hungarian election. I mean, you've been there, you've been on the ground, you've been talking to people. I mean, you're just talking about this man who was talking about the war in Ukraine. What are the main issues of this election, except for just, war in Ukraine? That seems to be Orban's kind of speech, but what are the main problems or issues in the election?
Yeah, so one thing I heard from almost everyone was healthcare. Healthcare is a massive issue. And one Hungarian man, again, we have like his interviews on our reels. He was basically saying, I went to the doctor for a simple checkup. I'm a 70-year-old man. I went for a checkup and I went there and they basically said, oh, you don't need a checkup right now, even though he hadn't had one for years. Come back in a year's time. We don't have the capacity, right? And this is a 70-year-old. So that's concerning. Another lady I talked to, she also said a similar thing. She's like, our healthcare is bad, and that's putting it lightly, right? So she's very, very unhappy there. So that was definitely a big local issue. Another local issue is also, well, to a lesser extent as healthcare, was pensions, right? That some people had very, very low pensions. And I had an example, I think a lady that was making 300 euros of pension per month, which was very little. So that's a big local issue. But again, Hungarians in the chat, please let us know. And then, of course, there's the big international issues, right? Or, my God, I forgot like one of the biggest local issues, which is corruption, of course. Corruption. So we went, I mean, if you watched our video, you saw us go to, the village where Orban has his stadium, where he has his father's big palace that he's built with likely money that is corrupt. And there's many, many examples throughout Hungary of things like this happening, of Orban enriching his friends, not necessarily only himself, but literally his friends and his network. So that's, of course, a massive local issue. If we take it out a step further, that's the international part, right? So Ukraine talked about it, massive issue, especially with the Fidesz voters. And I thought, Paul, it was very interesting how Péter Magyar, also in his rally, it's not really a topic he likes to address. Like, he doesn't really talk, I mean, he addresses it, of course, but he doesn't really go deep into the Ukraine topic. He tries to, at least in the rally I was at, he tried to focus more on the issues in Hungary, the local issues like healthcare, like what I talked about.
That's really interesting. I actually have a lot of questions and comments about that, and it reminds me of some electoral strategies that have been used in the past and that have worked quite well. But I want to address some people who have left us some donations. Nick Trimpos, thank you so much for €5. Nick says, we are truly living in historic moments. 16 years, and it comes down to a few hours. Yes, it does. And please stay live if you want to see how it ends. We were going to talk about this until we get some good results, so we can tell you exactly how it turns out. Thank you very much for your donation. It helps us a lot, especially those trips to Hungary. And we have another €2 again from Nick Tempos. What will happen if Orban loses? What are your opinions? And that's a great question. I'm going to get back to it in a second, but I want to go back to what you were saying, Lambertus, about the main issues on this election. Would you say that the local issues that have been addressed by, for example, Péter Magyar, is that something that reflects more with the workers of Hungary, right? The people who are there every day, who are facing actual problems, whereas maybe Orban's has been more of a fear campaign aimed at trying to just get votes from people without actually proposing any sort of change after 16 years of power. What is there to change?
I almost think it's the other way around, to be honest. Like, I was at the rallies. I was at the rally for Péter Magyar, and the crowd was very clear. It was young people, first and foremost, but there was also a slightly, I mean, I don't want to generalize too hard, but it seemed more of an educated audience, if I'm allowed to say that. Like, it seemed, I mean, even by talking to some of the people, some of the arguments for Péter Magyar was, well, he comes from a good family. His dad was a lawyer. He's well educated, right? And while the argument, and then the same person would say, and Orban's like the opposite. He doesn't come from that kind of family. He's smart, sure. Orban is smart, but he doesn't come from a, the same kind of family that Péter Magyar comes from. So there's almost like this small, dare I say it, elitist vibe that I got from some of the people I talked to when it was about Péter Magyar, like some of the Péter Magyar supporters. And again, I would love to hear the chat if you're Hungarian and you disagree with me, because this is just my takeaways from talking to. He had a little farmland, he had chickens outside, and he was a very normal guy, I would say. He was like on fire for Orban. Like literally, he's the only one that can keep things stable, and things are not that bad in Hungary. He said, like, because Fidesz keeps us safe.
I see. It's really this idea, speaking to the population and trying to have a bit of a populist movement. It's quite interesting. We have some more from the chat. Then I want to go back to Nick's question. What will happen if Orban loses? I mean, this is kind of the thing. I think most of us who are probably on the pro-EU camp want to happen, I guess. And so what can we expect from an Orban loss?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think it depends how severely he loses. I think there's two big obstacles in tonight's election, or two big targets, right? So TISA can win a majority. So what is a majority? I think there's 199 seats in the parliament, or around that much. And a majority would be a simple majority of over half, right? If it's very, very close to that majority that TISA got, I could see, well, at least the people I talked to could see Orban being difficult around accepting that result, right? It could be a recount, etc., etc. However, if TISA, of course, wins big, and by big, I mean so big that there's a second kind of target, which is a 2/3 majority. And this really matters, because a 2/3 majority in the Hungarian parliament means you can change the constitution. You can push things through, like big things, without needing the TISA, the Fidesz votes, right? So that's the second big target, so to speak. And if it's very close for that, I could see Orban also challenging it, because obviously Orban doesn't want TISA to have a 2/3 majority. So I think depending on how close we are to those two targets, I keep calling them, I think there could be, some big arguments around recounting, things like that. That's the short term. I mean, should I go into more detail, Paul, about long term, what it means and things like that?
Yeah, I have a question about the budget. I just want to give a quick shout out, though, to some of the people who have joined us on Patreon. Thank you very, very much. Thank you to Sebastian Joy for becoming a member. We really appreciate it. Thank you to Yele De Jong. Thank you very much. And Relating Sunscreen. So thank you very much for your support. We really, really appreciate it. There's a lot of people in chat saying to reload the screen. I think you've just done that, Lambertus.
I am, but I'm not getting any update in the results. So, but let's have a... Go ahead.
Final data, maybe? On the top of the...
yes. My bad.
That seems... processing attendance data. Well, we'll get to that in a second, I guess. But I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's watching the stream who might be looking for the results in this live stream. The results are not out yet. They'll be trickling in through the night. So we're going to be here until we get a good idea of what the result is going to be. So please make sure to stay on to try and get up-to-date news. Nobody else is really reporting on this. So we will have the results as soon as we can, hopefully on this website and when it loads. So Lambertus, I want to go back to what we were just talking about. What if Orban loses? One thing I heard is if Péter Magyar, right, TISA party do not get the 2/3 majority required, they're not able to get a budget through, then there is a recount or there is some kind of procedure there. Do you know what that could be? Is that something automatic where if they don't have a budget, there might be some kind of process behind that?
What do you mean? If there's no majority, you mean?
If there's no supermajority for TISA and they rely on Fidesz votes to get some certain bills through.
One second, Paul. I'm just getting links of results that are in. 1 second here. I've got something here. I think this is more important right now.
Absolutely.
So I got this. Is this the mandates one? Is this actually the first results of 3.34% counted? I think it is.
This looks like it. This looks like it. Yeah.
I think it is. Oh,
all right. What do we have?
Oh, wow. So right now, with 3.34% counted, if I'm not mistaken, we have TISA currently leading by quite a bit. 91 total seats, 76 for Fidesz and 9 for the far-right Mihazank. Okay, so that's a big result, right, Paul? I mean, it's only 3% counting, but that looks very, very promising for TISA.
This is the kind of direction, right? When you're looking at the polls or the initial pollings that from the past few weeks, this is really what it's been looking like.
Jesus, it went up to 110. It went up to 110.
Very nice.
Holy crap! That's massive, man.
Very nice.
Oh my God.
Okay. So for those who might not be seasoned with Hungarian politics, Lambertus, what does this mean?
Well, it means it's not yet a supermajority, but it's a very solid lead, and it's only 6% counted. It means, let's be honest. If this stays this way, Orban is out, right? That's it. There's no Prime Minister Orban if this happens, and this is a big result to overturn. I don't see. I'm not going to say that, but I don't see. It's not close. Put it that way.
One thing I'm concerned about, just from what I've heard about the election, we're really looking for that key number. No, 133. Does it look like we're heading in that direction with the current results?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Look. If I think about it logically, where are TISA votes coming from? The cities. Where was voter turnout the highest? The cities, right? So before all the and there are some mechanics which we can get into later of how the vote counting works that could mean that TISA would get some more votes and some more seats as the time goes on. But as more votes count, I could see it go towards maybe even more TISA seats, because the Hungarian system really favors the biggest party, the way it works. So the bigger party, the more successful party, generally gets a lot more seats than their actual percentage of popular vote.
This is really big news. I think there's a lot of people in the chat expressing their congratulations. I mean, we have to give it to everything, all the work that's been done for TISA and all the work that's been done for everyone who's been pro-EU. So this is a massive result for Europe.
Massive result.
Just to go along that wave, what does this mean for Europe?
Yeah. I just want to call out the members here, because people are signing up as members to the channel. So Gabriel, thank you for becoming a member and supporting us. It makes these trips to Hungary possible. And also Relating Sunscreen, thank you for becoming a member. Again, you make these trips to Hungary possible. And if you do have questions and want to give us a super chat to support the work we're doing, please do so, and we will, of course, answer the question. So, Paul, what was your question?
What does this mean for Europe, right? Well, now that with TISA, looks like it's going to be them. It looks like it's Magyar who will be the next Prime Minister of Hungary. What does this mean for Europe? How will this change? Does that mean the end of eternal Hungarian vetoes, or what can we expect from Magyar's premiership?
Right. Okay. So firstly, it's not over. We have 6.5%. So again, we're celebrating that. This is, of course, great if you want Europe to succeed as a European Union. But it's not over. This also currently means this is not a supermajority, right? So it's a majority, which is great, because it's still great because it would mean that Magyar would become most likely the prime minister. Almost certain the prime minister. And this would mean that these crucial vetoes that Hungary has been annoying the EU with for literally 16 years, Paul, for God's sake, 16 years of these vetoes. If you look at our channel, you know these vetoes, they will be lifted, and most likely. And what that means is that the money, the 90 billion loan, could go to Ukraine. The 20th sanctions package on Russia would probably go through. And then, of course, we would maybe have a Hungary that's cooperative again, not a Hungary that is allies itself to Mr. Trump in the US and Putin in Russia.
It's very nice. Yeah, I remember seeing these leaked voice messages from Orban to Putin, or from the ambassador to their Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. Absolutely horrendous stuff. Is anyone going to go to jail for this? This seems quite...
No, you know what's happened?
What's happened?
So the journalist who found out in Hungary that the foreign minister of Hungary was literally giving information after foreign minister meetings in the EU over to Lavrov, who's pretty much the lackey of Putin, after that happened, that journalist was arrested here in Hungary, right?
Wow.
That's what happened. So no, the foreign minister definitely was not arrested of Hungary or anyone in Orban's government, but the journalist who uncovered it, the investigative journalist, which is a sad story of what has happened regarding that. That's
insane. Well, hopefully they'll be freed after this after this victory by Tisa. We have a flurry of messages from the chat. I just want to go through a few of them with you, Lambertus.
Sure.
We have, again, Nick Trimpos, with €5. Thank you very, very much. What was the general feeling, Lambertus, that you felt when talking to Hungarians, both Fidesz and Tisa?
Yeah, so interesting question. So Tisa, it was a mix of frustration, sadness of what happened to the country, but hope, right? That hope that Tisa could now turn it around and start a new age for Hungary. And again, the issues they addressed were really education, also free movement, people in Erasmus. I mean, one lady talked about Erasmus, saying that students should be able to study again easily, from Hungary to other European countries. Apparently there was an issue there that I wasn't aware of. So, a lot of hope that things would get better within Hungary and also outside of it. But also, one man was so depressing. He was like, our education is destroyed. Our pensions are destroyed. We have been stolen from. The corruption is out of the door, things like that. Very, very sad.
I mean, I understand that after that many years of corruption, it's deflating. 16 years. Yeah.
100%, which is very, very disheartening. And I see more, maybe to answer your second half, Fidesz voters, again, I said at the start of the stream, it was really interesting how they were saying the opposite, right? Like what we say about Orban, they were pretty much saying about Péter Magyar, right? Péter Magyar cannot be trusted. He will make this country go to war, right? With Russia via Ukraine, not with Russia, yeah, maybe with Russia via Ukraine, or enter the war at least. And and they preferred the status quo, thinking that Orban would keep them safe. Things like that were talked about.
Yeah, it's well, it's crazy the difference in opinion. We have some more chats. We have Cross Cologne 1855. Thank you so much for €2. Congratulations, Hungary. Welcome back to the EU. I think that's the general feeling from tonight. Lambertus, maybe do you have a comment on that? I mean, I'm quite happy with the initial results.
Yes, Hungary, welcome back. Welcome back. Man, Hungary belongs in the EU. Hungary belongs in the EU. If these results stay as they are, I would love to have a cooperative Hungary. I've been here, man. You know how beautiful this country is? Literally. Budapest is incredible. The villages I've been to were really nice. And all the people I talked to were so friendly. Even the Fidesz voters. They were such nice people. But they just had a very different view on things.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I went through it during the Euro going through Budapest. What a beautiful city. And yeah, they're a core part of Europe. I remember having multiple discussions, not just with you, but with colleagues and a bit of people all over Europe talking about, if we should kick out Hungary. And it's always tough because, yes, Orban was a thorn on our side. He did so many vetoes. He was a thorn to the progression of the European Union. But now that he might finally be gone, now that he might finally be the end of the Orban era, it's almost as if we're collecting back, back with the Hungarians, back in the same boat, really moving forward together, because they are a core part of European history, of European culture. Yeah. And they are very European. They're very pro-Europe too. I think over 60% of Hungarians are pro-EU integration.
I think it's higher than that. I even think it's higher than that.
Yeah. But, yeah. Let's move on with the questions though, because we have just so many. So I'm just going to move on to Nikolos Proestos, who gives us 50 Swedish krona. Greetings from Greece. How has Orban remained in power for so long? Hoping for a positive outcome for both Hungary and Europe if Tisa wins. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's a good question. So Orban is super intelligent, and the way he set up his campaigns have really worked, right? Every single time. So for example, to give you some ideas, like this whole idea of running a campaign on fear started with the migration crisis back in, 2016, 2017 for the 2018 election, I think. Then this whole gender ideology, right? The whole thing, you know what I mean. He really weaponized that and made people afraid of that. Then the Ukraine war started in 2022, when the next Hungary election was. He really weaponized Ukraine back then too, right? Which he did very successfully, made the people scared. And then again, at this election, he tried to redo the Ukraine part, right? Tried to re-weaponize it again to make people afraid. And if you look at our latest video from last week, we show some of the messaging that he has done within his campaign, this fear mongering. And I think that's how he's been so successful for so long. And yeah, to finally answer your comment here, Nicolas, thank you. This is a very positive outcome.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone who's here on the stream, thank you so much for your questions. And this is a very exciting moment, I think, for everyone over Europe. So we have another question from Atletico7785, who says, and this is a very good question, won't Slovakia or Czech Republic just, use the veto instead? Won't they just be the new thorn in Europe's side?
I honestly think that the beacon or the front runner in all of this is Viktor Orbán, or was Viktor Orbán. I mean, the Patriots for Europe, it's literally Orbán's European party, right? Yes, I know Le Pen's part of it, and she's a character too, but she's not in power, not yet anyway, right? Orbán is, right? Even Fitzo, as annoying as he is, he's not part of the Patriots for Europe, in which Orbán sits, right? There is still a little bit of ideological differences there. Babiš in Czech Republic, I think he's very, very focused on enriching himself, and I think he's more flexible to work with than someone like Orbán, right? So to answer this question, yes, I think the veto will still be used, and it will still be a problem, and it needs to be reformed. But the main wielder of it is gone, and that is good news.
And I think the way it's been as well is that Orban has just been the leader of this 16 years. He's got a lot of experience. He's, for all that he is, he's a smart person. He knows how the system works, and he's used it to his advantage. And with him gone, there might not be this momentum, especially since there's such a pro-EU expression going on, and that we need to work together. They might not be so willing to go against the currents.
Paul, could you just make sure that you don't fuck up in France next year, please?
I can't promise that. I'll do my best, though. I'll do my best, Lambertus. That would be terrible. That would be terrible.
Man, Hungary's finally, it looks like Hungary's starting to do us a favor. And now you French guy people come along and you, elect Le Pen or Mélenchon, man? Like, what's going on?
No. It's topic for another live stream. But,
sorry.
Candidates coming up. I stay hopeful there. But we have some more questions, Lambertus. We want to make sure we get through
continue. Yeah.
So first, Be Like Local. Thank you so much for becoming a president. Thank you very, very much.
A president. We have to applaud that.
A big win there. Thank you very much. Be Like Local. And then we have a question from Owen YTC £5. Thank you so much for £5. Péter Magyar should celebrate his victory by building a football stadium, a project rail line, and place in his home district of Budapest. Sure enough.
Man, that's pretty much what Orban did, right? I mean, I think he's making jokes about Orban.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, man, I think, Paul, we've got some live reporting coming in from the event at Tisa, if I'm not mistaken. But let me have a look. If we can get these guys online. Maybe you can answer one of the questions, Paul, while I get our live reporting on the screen.
Sure. Yeah. So just to remind everyone who's on the live stream, we're going to have some live reporting from the two events, from Tisa and Fidesz. So we're going to get the feeling, the sentiment there. Of course, the connection is not too great because again, there's thousands of people. I mean, the place is buzzing, and so there's going to be a shared 5G connection, which might not be too stable. But while they get online, just feel free to interrupt me, Lambertus, whenever whenever you're ready. But I'm going to keep answering some questions. So we've got We've got a question from Be Like Local, who says, guys, hold up. Anything can happen. They need a supermajority for Tisa. And that's a very, very good point, right? I mean, we were talking about that just at the beginning of the live stream. They need a supermajority for a majority of these reforms, just because of the way that Orban has built the system or rebuilt the system to require 2/3 majority for many, many things. Now, I'm not an expert in the domain, so I'm not going to go into specifics here. But one thing that could happen is some challenges could happen inside of the parliament, in which you need a supermajority to get through, and if you don't have it, then that might go and destabilize the country, which could lead potentially to another vote, potentially some other problems there. So that's why that critical number of 133 seats is so important. Right now, you can see from the results, we've got 110 seats for the Tisa party, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a great start. Reloaded 125. perfect with 14.72% of the votes counted. That's a really big increase.
Oh wow,
that's great.
Yeah, that is really great. And we will go back to the results. But I think at the moment, let's try this, because as you can see on our live stream, we have our Hungary expert. Sabi, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Because we can't hear you. You're still on mute, I think. So have a look if you're on mute. But he is, I think, at the TISA event, right? If we can see that correctly, with some Hungarian flags behind us. Yeah, but we can't hear you, Sabi. 1 second. Have a look if your video source is correct. Yeah.
Oh, while we get that working, I just want to answer or say thank you to a few more people in the chat. Dainius B2, thank you so much for becoming a member of parliament. We really, really appreciate it. Every euro counts, helps us make live streams just like this, where we can be on the terrain and have people like Sabi and Lambertus in Hungary reporting live. Then we have 49 Czech crowns from Lukas Kolarek from Czechia, praying for victory for Tisa. Grew out. Yes, Lucas, thank you very much for your 49 Czech crowns. We really, really appreciate it. It's a very big thank you, and thank you for your support. Lambertus, do we have any updates potentially on Sabi?
I think I can hear something. Sabi, can you hear us? Sabi? No, I don't think he can hear us. I think, the connection is just so bad, man. that's why I had to leave the event.
Yeah, we didn't know this was going to happen. So... Oh.
And he's gone. All right. We'll put the results back up, and we'll try again in a minute before the chat revolts that we're not showing the results.
While you get that back up, I'll monologue a bit, but please feel free to interrupt me, Lambertus, as soon as you've got that back up. We have some more questions or comments. DNC Master gives us 100 Danish krona. Thank you very, very much. Now Tisa needs to work on completely unscrewing everything Orban has done to the Hungarian political system in the last decades. Best of luck to the Hungarians. I think I'm speaking for all of us here on this live stream and speaking on behalf of all Europeans when I say best of luck to all Hungarians, to all of Hungary. All eyes are on you. We are looking to you to revamp your country, to rejoin the European political system, and we can't wait. We can't wait to have you back on board.
So, update on the votes. So we have, Paul, 15% now processed, and the TISA count went up. This is big. So we're now on 125 seats for TISA, 65 seats for Fidesz, and 8 seats for Mihazang, a far-right party, even more extreme than Fidesz. This is big. Their vote count for TISA is going up. And this is critical, because if they hit 133 seats, they have a 2/3 majority. And as we said before, that is massive, because they can then change the constitution and basically undo so many things that Fidesz has done. For example, Orban has put so many of his friends in the constitutional court and the media and lots of other institutions that then could be undone. But they need the 133 seats, and they're still on 125. So, wow, super exciting, but it's going up.
It's really going in that direction. And I remember what we were talking about earlier in the stream is that a lot of these votes come from the Orban-centric districts who have voted counts, who have counted the votes a little bit quicker, just because there's less voters or less voter concentration. Most of the votes and most of the turnout was in the big cities. It was in Budapest, it was in the big cities of Hungary, which have, of course, which take a lot more time to count. I think Budapest had up to 80% a turnout, which is absolutely massive, and most of these people vote for Tisa. A lot of people in Budapest feel more European than any other European country, any other European city in Europe. So they're obviously more inclined to vote for Tisa, and when their votes come in, we might see that shift. We might see the shift back towards Tisa for that golden number of 133 seats, which is really, really, really important.
Incredible. Yeah, it is super important. And it's really interesting where this will go. I mean, what do you think, Paul? Do you think the threshold will be met? Do you think Tisa will keep on growing?
Look, I know people in the chat will know me as a pessimist. I know you know me as a pessimist, Lambertus, but I can't help but ride the wave right now of optimism. I mean, this is a fantastic result. I'm really quite over the moon at how this is going. For my whole life, I've seen Orban in power in Hungary. My whole life, I've seen him tear down European institutions. I've seen him oppress the Hungarian people, and I've seen him work against the Hungarian people. and for the first time in my life, I can see this Hungarian renaissance towards pro-Europeanism to finally rejoin the group, especially in a moment when they're so needed to really push through the reforms that need to be done. And so for me, this is quite exciting, and so I want to ride that wave. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to reach that number.
I just read the chat, and someone's like, scroll down for the map. I mean, look at this map.
Oh my God!
Shit. I mean, that would be insane. Nice. That would be insane. So for people that know, Budapest is right here. And obviously that's all blue because the cities generally vote for TISA, and pretty much everything else is blue. But again, it's just 15% counted, guys. So like really, let's not get too excited, and let's see where this goes. Is there any more comments in the chat, Paul?
Yes, I've got one from R. Molling, who gives us 129 Swedish crowns. Thank you very much for your contribution. Greetings from Sweden. Very happy for Hungary tonight. Welcome back to the European family, and fuck Putin. Well, I very much agree. Fuck Putin. Get out. Get out. It's done.
Oh, hilarious. Any other comments?
We don't have anything for now, but Lambertus, I have a ton of questions for you. Actually, we just have one from the chat, so I want to prioritize these ones. Of course, we prioritize all the questions you send us. All the super chats are prioritized first. Bad News Badger gives us 100 Danish crowns. Thank you so much for your contribution. While Orban has done a lot to stack the elections in his favor, I can't help but think that there has a massive backfire potential if his sure win districts don't pan out. Now, I'm not that much of an expert in the Hungarian elections. Lambertus, I know you know a lot more than I do. Do you know what Bad News Badger might be referencing here?
Paul, I'm just trying to get our local contact on again. So can you re-ask the question, because
sure,
I was distracted. Yeah.
So basically asking, because Orban has done so much to stack elections in his favor, Bad News Badgers thinks that there is a potential for it to backfire if the sure win districts don't pan out, I guess, for Viktor Orbán.
Yeah. Okay, so it's completely true. There's so many mechanisms that Fidesz has used to try and swing this in its favor, right? And just to count a few, I mean, there's media, there's the whole gerrymandering concept, although gerrymandering is the wrong word. It's more about redrawing the districts, which were very favorable for, well, it's pretty much gerrymandering for Fidesz. So there's that. And then there's other things too, right? Like vote buying. There's a lot of accusation of vote buying and getting, social pressure on people to vote for Fidesz. There's lots of that stuff going on. But I mean, so far we've not seen it, right? I mean, well, it surely has happened, but so far it's not impacted the vote in that extent that Fidesz is swinging this in their favor. So I guess time will tell. But I think a big TISA win will just reinforce that people are fed up with Orban and that TISA will take control. I can't really see Orban start to, I don't know, say the results are faked if the majority is so much in favor of TISA.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember watching on Instagram, or not just Instagram, through news channels too, some of the propaganda and the things that Fidesz had done to try and get voters to vote for them. One of the things was to come with a big box of food, right? And come up to someone's doorstep, ring the doorbell, and give them a big box of food written Fidesz all over it. Now, of course, there's a lot of misinformation in this election, a lot of doubts, what these things could be, but just the politicization of the election and just how much controversy there has been from both sides, but mostly the Fidesz side, with, everything to do with Russia, everything to do with the food stamps and everything that was been given to voters.
It's not food stamps, dude. They didn't get food stamps. They literally got chickens and sacks of potatoes.
My God.
Yeah.
Would you vote for Orban if you got chicken and sacks of potatoes?
I mean, for us, okay. So again, I'm seeing the situation now here, right? And yeah, would I vote for the AfD in Germany if I got a sack of potatoes? No, of course not. But I'm doing okay in my life, right? I have got an awesome YouTube channel with awesome people that makes me at least enough money to live. So that's not an issue. But if you're living in a very rural area where there's just not much money and literally a sack of potatoes could get you through, I don't know, a week, right? Without having to spend extra. And you're not into politics and you don't care. Dude, it would be the same, Paul. It'd be the same if I went to you and said, dude, I'll give you 10,000 euros if you vote Le Pen.
Yeah, it's not the same.
That's probably the same ratio, right? Like 10,000 euros will probably, do you very well for I don't know, half a year. I don't know idea.
And they're not just giving sacks of potatoes, right? It's food. It's food. I can hear something on my end over here.
Yeah, so Paul, I can hear our correspondent at the event. So I think we're going to get him on. Sabi, can you hear us? Sabi, can you hear us? Yes, perfect. I can hear you. Yeah, yes, I can hear you. I think there's a big delay, so it doesn't work. The internet's too bad. Sorry.
Okay, I'll just keep asking because there's quite a lot of questions in chat. So I just want to go through a few of them if we have the time. I'm not sure if we're waiting on the live stream to go through. Should we go through the questions?
Yeah, let's go through the question. Until there's better internet, go through the questions, yeah.
All right. We have a few good questions, but I'm just going to go through them one by one. Yijit Wolf gives us, I don't know what that currency is, but thank you very much, Yijit Wolf. Gives us, I wish our Hungarian friends free and happy days and a future with more freedom and fairness. Yes, Yijit Wolf, I very much agree. Mario Ponce gives us $5 from America, or actually, should I say from Venezuela? Thank you very much. As a Venezuelan, I'm concerned that Orban could do a fraud or fraud the results. Is there a possibility that could happen? Could there be some kind of trickery here? Could Orban pull a trick of some kind?
It's a great question. I just refreshed the results. We're now on 22% of the vote counted. We're 128 seats for TISA. They went up again. They're 5 seats away now from getting a supermajority. So this is turning into a very, very exciting close night. And my God, if they make the 133, that would be insane, as you know. But yeah, going to your question. Like I said at the start of the stream, I really think Orban will accept the results if they're a massive landslide in favor of TISA, right? Then I think there's no other choice than to accept them, because I think it's too much to turn around. If it's super close, so for example, 133 will give TISA a supermajority, and let's say TISA wins exactly 133 or 134 or 135, then dude, I could definitely see Orban challenging that and trying to, I don't know, turn that around. In terms of fraud, there's loads of fraud that happened throughout the country already. So that is already a factor you need to take into these results, that even though there's fraud going on in the country, it still looks like TISA is going to win by quite a margin.
That's fantastic news. And and actually I have a follow-up question on that, but would you mind keeping it a little bit brief? It's actually my fault. I'm not going through all the questions fast enough, but
okay. I'll keep it brief. Yeah.
I'm wondering this now, if he gets such a big result, there's going to be a lot of weight on his shoulders to try and do a good job, to try and obviously not go back to Orban in 4 years' time, right? Does he have a strong platform, or is he seen mostly as the anti-Orban candidate? So that's why people vote for him.
It's such a good question, because that's exactly the same question I asked. And I created a video today, which was like, let's explain who Péter Magyar is. And every time I asked local people, what do you like about Péter Magyar? They might have mentioned 1 or 2 things, and then they started talking about Orban. Right? So I think there is definitely a massive aspect in this election, which is, I don't like Orban, I'm going for the opposition, for sure. That's not to say that Péter Magyar doesn't have good concepts and that there's loads of people that, actually probably or definitely do like him, right? So I think it's a mix of both. So, for example, Péter Magyar is quite strong on healthcare. They've got a quite vivid plan on how to fix healthcare, right? One lady explained it to me, and there was like a lot of money that was going to go into it to reduce waiting time. So I think that's what they like about him. And of course, also people with a more pro-European perspective also like Péter Magyar. One guy I talked to, he basically said, I do not not one guy, a grandma. So our Hungarian expert, his grandmother, I need to make answer short, I know. I'll get to it very quickly. But his grandmother said to me, why are we getting, us Hungarians, loans from China to pay for stuff when there's literally 20 billion euros of European funds frozen that we can literally just use, right? If we reform. And I think that's a very good argument to be made. And I think quite a few Hungarians share that. And that's also why they like Péter Magyar. Sorry, go ahead with the next question.
No, fair enough. It's a really good answer. And that's something I think a lot of people are worried about because they want to see this guy succeed. We don't want Orban back in 4 years. That would be absolutely terrible. We have 12 euros from Senisas from Lithuania. Thank you so much. He says so far, or they say so far, so good. Greetings from Lithuania. Thank you for joining us on the stream. We really appreciate it. Don Ecstasy, 5 euros. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for what you're doing, guys. I hope that Magyar gets the majority. He does indeed do some good in the long term and not only in the short term. Thank you so much for your contribution. We hope he will be live up to standard and that he will fulfill voters' expectations as well as expectations from the European side. Enhunor has just joined as a commissioner. Thank you very much, Enhunor. Welcome to the team. Welcome to EU Made Simple. I'm just speeding through these. There's just so many, Lambertus. I don't want to miss. I don't want to
go
miss
ahead.
any.
Miss. Go through them. Go through them.
Be Like Local again with 100. I think that's the Argentinian peso. Says, could you fix the Discord exclusive link? That link has expired. Oh,
we will.
Points.
We will.
We will.
Maybe if there's an admin on the team, please put our Discord into the chat and join our Discord where we discuss politics literally the whole day. So definitely do that.
Very good call out there. Moving on, we've got Oles. Oh wow, that's Olejastinashvili, who gives us 10 euros. Who says today is turning point for whole EU. Go Tisa. Yes.
Ooh.
Thank you for your contribution. We really, really appreciate it. You've got Rami Daba, who has joined as an ambassador. Thank you very much, Ramsey. Then you have Rob Orange, who says the future is European, who gives us 5 euros. Appreciate the on-ground reporting, EU Made Simple. Thank you, Rob. We really appreciate you. Mike with 10 euros says thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Mike, for being here and for giving us 10 euros. We really appreciate it. Zeppel Fahert gives us $10. Congratulations and greetings from one of the many in America who believe and support a strong EU. Fingers crossed for a supermajority. Scott from North Carolina, by the way, fuck Trump. I agree. Sorry for speeding through your contributions. Each and every one of these means so much to us. And sorry on the chat. We're going to keep it dynamic. I just want to really say thank you to everyone who's contributing today. So we'll just go back to the discussion in a second. P. Bayard says, should Tisa win? Will they actually be able to govern given all the loyalists in key positions? That's a good question.
It's a great question. And the funny thing is, I know this guy.
Really?
Yeah. He's I'm not going to give it too much away, but he's literally family. So great question, Peter. It's very nice to see you on the stream. And the key is this number on the screen right here. It says 128 for Tisa at the moment, 128 seats. This needs to become 133 or higher tonight. And if this happens, Tisa can change the constitution and can remove people from key positions. And that's only possible with a supermajority. So that's why we're all super excited here and hoping that this number goes to 133. And it's possible because when we started the stream, we were like 110 and it's just going up and up and up. And as votes from cities come in, it's very likely that Tisa could get this supermajority.
I mean, it just keeps going up, no? And again, for everyone who's joined us on the stream, please make sure to stay on to see if they are going to reach that magical number of 133 seats, which is 2/3 of the parliament seats. The magical number, of course, because as you just said, Lambertus, they need to be able to have a supermajority in order to properly govern the country and potentially also stave off any attempts from Orban to interfere with the election, which might be catastrophic for Tisa. And again, beyond that, we were just talking about that. If they can't do the reforms that are so wanted by electors, they could be punished in the next election. So it's super, super important for them to reach that magical golden number of 133 seats.
It's critical.
It's critical.
Yeah.
Critical. So make sure to stay online until we see if we reach that number. I'll just keep going, Lambertus, through
keep going
through the comments. We have quite a few. Thank you for all that you do. 10 euros. Thank you, Mike. We really, really appreciate it. Welcome, WR Ambiance, for becoming an ambassador. Thank you very, very much. Gufaya 89 TV says, will Orban escape to Russia like Bashar?
That is very interesting. I don't think so. I don't think so. Especially if the supermajority is not reached, then he will definitely enjoy his opposition, Orban, if he accepts the results, that is, because he can block so much, right? Because Tisa will need Fidesz if they want to change core things in Hungary, if they don't have a supermajority. So then he definitely won't escape, and I don't see him escaping either way. He's got a lot of grip still on the levers in Hungary.
Yeah, he has a lot of, I guess, what they say, the deep state, right? But then Peter Magyar was talking about how he's not so worried about the deeps, these factions controlled by Orban. I don't know if you've heard about
He
that at
has
all.
to say that though, doesn't he? Right?
Mm.
I mean, if he says, "Oh, it's a lost cause, we cannot change what Orban did," then people will be like, "Well, we might just well stick with Orban."
Well, yeah, that's true. It sounds like a lame excuse, like a
Yeah.
lame excuse, I guess.
You make
I
a
guess.
terrible politician, Paul. Man, you need to get your, you get your strategy in order. I'm
You get my
joking.
strategy. I've got 1 year to figure it out. Actually, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Storm CD2YT gives us €1. Thank you very much. Says, will you cover the upcoming Bulgarian elections? Yes, we will. We cover all the European elections, so
We
it
will.
will be covered.
I don't think we will be actually on site for the Bulgarian one because it's too soon afterwards. But we might do the Swedish one on site, or we're actually thinking the Iceland referendum in August. But this is future plans.
Lambertus, looking at the screen, we have an update. We have 132 seats for Tisa.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, this is going to be such a long night. It's going to be so close, Paul. It's going to be so close.
Wow. This is great. Only 29% of the votes counted, though. I mean, this is crazy. This is the right direction, right? This is great. We've got all the city votes still needing to be counted. This is a fantastic trajectory.
I mean, the trajectory is great, right? I mean, this is massive. That Tisa's killing it, really killing it. Again, though, I mean, 30% counted. Normally, it would favor Tisa with all the late votes coming in from the cities and also abroad. But man, this is looking very good.
This is looking really, really, really good. I mean,
dude,
this is
you want to hear? Look at this. Sorry, you'll love this, Paul. Sorry, I just got a message on WhatsApp. According to Polymarket, you'll love Polymarket, Paul. 91% probability for 130 plus seats.
Wow. That's I believe that now. That's it. I put my money on it.
I bet you've invested yourself, man.
No comment.
Oh, hilarious.
Wow. Fantastic result.
Great
result.
This is going the right way, man. This is making my night. Yeah.
I mean, you made your way all the way to Hungary to see this happen. I mean, this is historical for everyone who's joining us now. This is history.
Well done, Hungarians, for going to the polls. But anyway, I can see there's some more chats. Should we go back to the chat?
Yes. Yeah. Well done, Hungary. From Poland, greetings from Poland. 50 PLN, which is about €12. Thank you very much, Kolodzirok. Thank you very much. He says we are doing a good job. Thank you very much. Great chat, guys. Netherlands represented. Thank you very much for your €2. And thank you, Fireblade. Oh, my God. Thank you very much to Fireblade for becoming a president. We really, really appreciate it. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the club. I Heard Thunder gives us €5. Historic night for Hungary and the EU. Great show, guys. Best wishes from Estonia. Thank you very much, I Heard Thunder, for joining us all the way from Estonia, a great European country. As a viewer from Portland, Oregon, I'm hoping for the end of Orban will be the beginning of the end of MAGA for the US and the world. This is into.it, who gives us $10. Thank you very much for your contribution, and we hope so too. Greetings from Switzerland with 3 Swiss francs from Aravins. Even non-EU are glad. Yes, I think the whole world is glad. We even have viewers from America who are telling us how happy they are. So,
I mean, yes. I mean, if you're a Trump or if you're Putin, of course, you're not so happy right now because Orban is a big ally.
Oh,
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, you saw what Vance was. He was there, right? He was there.
Yeah, he was here last week. The funny thing is, there was. I'm not sure if it's fake news, but there were like some polls that I saw on X. Is that Hungary's or Orban's support reduced by 2% after Vance was there? It looks like a lot of Europeans, especially also Hungarians, have had enough with the US, which is great because we need a bit more European independence, guys.
Absolutely. I mean, I was overjoyed when I saw that news. I guess they won't be visiting Europe anytime soon, which is completely fine by me.
You're the biggest patriot of Europe, Paul. Anyway, go ahead.
Thomas 2382 gives us €5. Thank you very much, Thomas. Who asks, "What is your opinion on governing if Tisa does not secure a supermajority?" Greetings from Lithuania. Thank you very much, Thomas. What do you think, Lambertus?
Well, they have to try, right? I mean, I think, again, this 133 figure right here is the most critical piece of tonight for sure. But they have a majority, so they can still do a lot without a supermajority. And they might. I had an interesting conversation today with one Ukrainian, my God, one Hungarian. and he said that, well, Fidesz and also Mi Hazánk, but especially also Fidesz, has a lot of people in there that are not really, I mean, how can I say this politely, into politics that much, or really the biggest ideological characters, and they might be able to bend here and there a couple of these MEPs or these MPs to change things in the constitution for TISA, right? So if there's only 1 or 2 seats missing, then TISA could potentially get support from individual members of the parliament. That's what he said. If that's the truth, please let us know in the chat what you think if you're from Hungary.
Yeah, that's a good analysis there. All right, so we have then Eric Stefko, who gives us $5 Canadian, hoping Mark Carney brings Canada into the EU. All middle powers need to unite, and it'd be great under the banner of the EU. You're a big middle powers proponent, Lambertus.
Yes, I love the middle powers. That's the future for us and for Canada.
I think so too. Nick Trimpos with 1 EU Made Simple gift membership. Make sure to grab that, but I think I said that way too late, so it's probably gone. Thank you so much, Nick. You've been a great donor in this chat today, so thank you very much for joining. Jacob Hedgerer gives us 10 Swiss francs. Thank you very much. Who says free the zebras? I'm not sure what the context is there.
I know exactly. Oh man. So very quickly, Orban's brother has a big palace a little bit from Budapest, which allegedly is being built with corruption money, or has been built with corruption money. And he's apparently had some zebras over there, some zoo animals for good measure, like Pablo Escobar in Colombia. I mean, that's kind of the stuff that goes on here.
Wow. Taxpayer money paid by the EU, I probably assume. Kutai Yavuz gives us 220. I don't quite know that currency, but thank you very much. Says, congrats, Magyar siblings, and greetings from Turkey. Turkish lira, probably. Wish the same for Erdogan in the next elections. We do hope that as well. Would be great to see Erdogan go. Mark Carney again. Thank you very much, Eric. Alba Regia gives us $2. Thank you very much. I'm wishing your channel a bright future. Thank you very much. One Nation, One Europe, who gives us €2, says thank you, and thank you very much, One Nation, One Europe, and says, let's go Europe, let's go. EU flags in the chat. Yes, EU flags in the chat. Mattia Potone gives us €10. Thank you very much. From Slovenia, from Volt. Hello, Volt from Slovenia. Or hello from Volt, Slovenia, should I say. Thank you very much, Mattia. Then we have Kristen Robben. Maybe some family there.
Kristen Robben's my sister. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that is very sweet. I mean, I hope she gave at least €20. I mean, that's the least.
She gave exactly €20. I don't know if there's something there.
That is sweet. That is very sweet. Well, thank you, Kristen. What was her question?
Well, thank you, Kristen. And she says, loved the on-the-ground video. Amazing content, as always. Well done, Team EUMS. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you, Kristen. That's very sweet of you.
Moving on, we have so many chats here, so I'm just going to speed through them, but Lambertus, please feel free to interrupt me if you want to do if we want to talk about something else.
Yeah, let's do a couple more, and then we can talk about once we get an update in the results, we talk about that.
All right, and I just want to thank everyone for every single chat. We're reading every single one of them. Just because we've had so many here, I'm just going to focus on some of the questions. I'm going to go through all of them. So we have Zero Cool with €12. Thank you so much. From a former team member, congrats on EUMS. Keep up the great job. And bye Orban. Yes, bye Orban.
Yeah, and Paul, maybe it's quickly to interrupt. I do also on my side want to say thank you, because we went all the way to Hungary to really report on all of this, and seeing all of you give all of this money, it really means a lot to us, and we can make this all happen. So really, also from my side, we appreciate it really. And back to you, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading this super quickly, but I am really thankful. This is becoming really impersonal, but it's really great seeing how committed people are giving their time and their money away for a cause like this. Every single euro, every single view, every single like, every single join counts, not just for EU Made Simple, but for the European project. I mean, this is the future, right? So this is what we're building together. Thank you very much on behalf as well, the whole team. Nick Trimpos, again, with €10. We are truly living a historic day. Here, take my 10 to pay your Hungary trip. I hope you visit Greece someday. I would love to visit Greece. I think you would love to visit Greece too, Lambertus. We have a question from Swagcat, who says, what do you think will be the most important European election after this one, with €5? Thank you very much.
Okay, this is a great question because I actually looked at elections that happened after this one, and we have Cyprus coming up next. And I'll be honest with you, I do not know a whole lot about Cyprus, but I'm going to get into it. I mean, sorry, Bulgaria, my God. Bulgaria is next week, so that's really important, and we will make a video on that. Then there's Cyprus. Then later in the year, we have some German states, some German provinces where the elections are. I know that might not seem important to you, but they are important as they show how stable the German government is. And of course, then there's Sweden. That's coming up. And I think Estonia is coming up at the end of the year. All of them important, but there's none as crucial as today, guys. I'll be very honest with you. Like, today is the election of 2026. And you can hear the excitement in my voice because this result, the way it's going, we are now at 37% counted, right? And TISA is at 132 seats. One more seat is needed, and they have a supermajority. So this, for me, is the big election of the year. And the next big one, of course, is France next year.
Yeah, that will be a huge one, and we'll be there to report everything, hopefully on the ground as well. We have a comment from Florian Groy, who gives us €5, who asks, will the veto now be suspended? I think they're talking about the European veto. Lambertus, can we expect more vetoes now in the European Commission?
Sorry, you mean the European Council, right?
European Council, sorry, yes.
Yeah, more vetoes. So the veto, it cannot be decommissioned. I mean, doesn't work that way, right? It's just about leaders using the veto. That's how it works. And Orban has loved using it. It was like his favorite little instrument to get what he wants in the EU. That will now, with Péter Magyar as the prime minister, honestly, it's gone. I really think Péter Magyar is going to be very, very happy to work along with Brussels, because I think he also thinks, if I get that 20 billion euros of frozen European money, I can do a lot of good for Hungary. And if I do a lot of good for Hungary, I might get reelected, right? So I think that's his kind of thinking. And I think he's going to literally remove the vetoes on all of these important issues. That doesn't mean the veto's gone, right? Hungary could still use it. So could any other country in the European Union. The next ones now are, of course, Fico, Babiš, who could potentially use it in the future, and maybe even the new president of Bulgaria next week, depending who we get.
And I mean, the veto is something we need to get rid on the long term, right? We talk about this every single live stream, every single video almost, but we need to get rid of that veto power, because it's that veto power that keeps Europe back. It holds us back from being able to achieve really the potential of representing democracy and voters properly without just countries holding up the whole process, right? So moving to QMV is really important, and I think that's absolutely a step in the right direction.
It is.
Omicron asks with €10, thank you so much. When does the next government take power? I'm not sure if you know the dates or the timeline on that.
I that's a really good question, and it's actually I actually don't know. I don't know how it works in Hungary. This would be great if we had our Hungary expert. He can't dial in from the event because the internet doesn't work there. But I don't know. If anyone knows in the chat, please do let us know. I think it's quite quickly afterwards, right? Because when you have a majority, that's it. You have a majority.
Yes, that is true. We have a question from WR Ambiance with €10. Thank you so much. Who says, bro, I am Colombian. It's not a question, sorry, it's a statement. Colombian-German. I heard Pablo Escobar. That is insane.
maybe okay. Sorry for the Colombian watching. I do not want to draw any parallels to one of the biggest criminals ever the world has seen. But I'm saying is, what I remember is that Pablo Escobar in Colombia also had zoo animals and things like that in his estate, right? So of course, I don't want to say any comparison between these leaders. It was just about the zoo animals.
Yes. So then we have a chat from Kobe Lara with 250 Czech krona. I'm not sure what that is in euros, but thank you so much. Who says, honestly, when I think of all the stuff Orban did, okay, well, this one I tend to disagree with, but they said Hungarians need to be apologizing to the rest of Europe for 16 years of this dickhead who is Orban.
So as thank you for the super chat, right? We appreciate it. And I understand the sentiment, but I don't agree with the statement either. I think the Hungarians, especially after meeting them here, have really been, in my eyes, misled in a way under Orban. And Orban hasn't given them much of a chance, man, especially in the rural, poor areas. I mean, if all you get all day is state media, which is pro-Orban propaganda, and if you're a person that's not really into politics and just cares about living a safe life, and you see all of this war, fear-mongering, I understand that they vote for Fidesz. And I also understand it when they get a sack of potatoes and they're poor, that, yeah, why not vote for Fidesz? Because then I can feed my family for a week. So I do get it. I really do get it. And that just makes me even happier that today Hungarians really mobilized the opposition and made these results happen.
Yeah, I always say it's, blaming the voters is not going to get you anywhere. You need to address the issues. It's why we've seen the rise of the far right and the far left. Actually, it's because these voters have not been addressed. Their issues have not been addressed correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Paul, I want to use this point to really do a shout out. We have an Instagram page where we're literally showing all of these results and so much more information about our channel or about our continent, right? We have a great Instagram team, great content. So get on Instagram if you haven't already. Link in the description.
We have another American in the chat, Emporium of Terracane with $20 American here. Thank you very much, Emporium. Very proud of Hungary. You are laying the groundwork for a similar coalition to defeat the dictators in the USA. Also excited for the middle powers banding together and hope for an empowered Europe too. God bless.
Paul, this is going to be the start of a wave worldwide, man. Let's have it.
Yes, this is the end of people like Orban. This is the beginning of the end for every single one of them. They're all looking at this with disdain, and that is a great news.
Yeah.
More chats here from Nizer7687 with €10. Thank you very much. Who says, glad about the results, but from my understanding, all parties on the ballot are at least right-leaning. How come? Will that change once Orban is gone? And thank you from Germany.
Okay, so that's a good question. So let me show you this party list right here on the screen. So here you can see you have TISA, you have Fidesz and KDNP, who are in an alliance. You have this Mi Hazánk group, DK, and MKKP. Hungary does generally elect right-leaning parties, right? So TISA is, I would say, center-right conservative. Fidesz is right-wing populist. Mi Hazánk would be far-right. Oh my God, I've seen Mi Hazánk posters in Budapest, man. They're intense. They're like AfD level, if not worse, like very far-right. Very anti-immigrant, even more so than Fidesz. And then you have DK, which is the center-left party. And as you can see, people are just not voting for them. And MKKP, I think it's called the Two-Tailed Dog Party. It's like they belong to the Pirate Party, I think. So they are left-leaning, but they're more of a frustration party. How do you call it? Not a joke party, but like a more of a like a party. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So there are other parties, but this was really a two-dog race.
But I think when I was looking at the 2022 elections, we were talking exactly about this. Why isn't there a left-wing coalition? Or there was a left-wing party that was close to TISA, but that's what basically got Orban to win, because there was no coalition with a large party. And so that's why TISA kind of gathered up all the votes. I think most of Hungarians, and you're on the ground, Lambertus, so you'll know this more than I, but are more favoring towards the right, and the left obviously wanting to get rid of Orban after all this corruption, after all the traitorship, or the being a traitor to the Hungarian people. They are voting with this party to try and get him out. But I think it's a very split coalition, and that's why we were referencing this earlier tonight. We were talking about, what's the long-term plan for TISA, because they're going to have another election in 4 years, and Orban, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think he's going to be waiting patiently for his turn.
He did say a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, I can't remember exactly, that he knows how to lead an opposition, and he does. Because he became prime minister of Hungary in 1998, I think it was, for the first time until 2002. He lost in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. There was quite a lot of controversy around that election, I think. And then he was in opposition from 2002 to 2010, right? So he's led a coalition. He has led an opposition before. So that is why, man, 37% counted. Please let this number go up, because then we can definitely see a very strong TISA who has only itself to blame if it doesn't get the votes in 4 years. But we need more than 132.
I mean, even the way he runs this campaign is like an opposition party, even though he's in power, right? All the things about Ukraine, about immigrants.
Yeah, I don't even. I think someone told me today that he didn't even release a manifesto. So Péter Magyar has a whole manifesto, and Orban didn't even release one. And there's also no televised debates like Péter Magyar versus Fidesz, like you would have in other countries, Le Pen against maybe Macron in like the last 10 years, just don't happen here, right?
Wow, that's crazy. I'm gonna go through some more comments because we have a lot of questions. We have Jan Sepelak who gives us €25. Thank you very much. Who says, go for 133. We're almost there. 133. We're almost there. 132. I can see you reloading that page, Lambertus. You're waiting for that number to go up. And I am too, to be honest. Then we have Philipper DK123, who gives us 150 Swedish krona, who says, hearts to Hungary. Welcome back, friends. I hope we can welcome back the UK sometime in the future as well. I hope so too. We have Asmund, who gives us 119 Norwegian crowns, who says, all the best from Norway with the what I believe to be the LGBT flag. Let's go, Norway. And let's encourage, let's go for a win in this election. Then we have two comments. We have one from Ronald Dodd with 11 euros, who asks,
Whoa! Look at this! Look at the screen!
Yes!
We have 135! I mean, this is big. This is it. Big. This is big, man. So, for people that just joined, something massive just happened. Basically, we updated it with 45% counted now in Hungary. We have 135 seats projected for TISZA, or for TISZA, not even projected. I mean, 55% still has to be counted, but 135 seats is a super majority for TISZA, right? If they get this at the end of the night, that is it. GG Orban and GG, oh my God, GG. Game over for basically a lot of the problems that he created here within Hungary, right? Within the constitutional court. My God, I'm getting a bit too excited here, but that's a big, big update.
I mean, I think you have the right to be, Lambertus. Your whole life, or our whole lives, we've seen this thorn in our side. He's finally gone. This is the beginning of the end for Orban. And I mean, this is a massive win when I think about all the people who stand against Europe. Think about Trump, think about Putin, think about Orban, think about, all the enemies of Europe. Orban, the head of the pack inside of Europe itself, and he's gone. We did it. We've turned the tide. This is everyone doing this all around Europe.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. This is great. I mean, again, for people joining later, Orban is literally the leader of the Patriots for Europe, which is like the biggest party in the European Parliament that is against the European Union, or at least very Eurosceptic. So having Orban, basically the head of this party, being removed from power here is a big, big slap in the face for anti-EU forces throughout the European Union.
Every single Eurosceptic will be looking at this result and will be recalculating their electoral programs. They will be recalculating what they've been saying about Europe. They'll be recalculating being anti-EU because they know that is not the will of the people. They know that the will of the people is to work with the European Union, to be inside of the EU, and to work together as one bloc. And this is damning and crushing proof that the voice of anti-Europeanism is starting to decay, and rightfully so.
Yep. So, but very quickly, I know we're celebrating, but it's not over, right? Things might change. You never know what's going to happen. But I can see there's some super chats. So should we go back to those, Paul?
Yes. We don't want to miss any of those. So I'm going to keep going. There is a good question from Ronaldo with Ronaldo with 11 euros, who says, will there be a problem? TISZA has grown so big, and in his country, he's had experiences with parties growing quite big and having problems with filling all the positions with reliable people. Is that a problem with TISZA?
It's a good question, and to be honest, I don't know the answer, right? I mean, we will have to see. I think if this stays like this, then TISZA has overperformed a little bit the polls. I think the polls gave TISZA like a 30% chance to get a supermajority or something like that. This is like a partisan barometer that gave, I think, around a 30% chance. So they overperformed. So that means there's MPs that didn't expect to win that won. So maybe, not sure how good they are. We'll have to see. But one thing that you have to understand, the Hungarian voting system is really made by Orban, by the way, right? Orban changed this back in, I think, 2012 or 2014. I'm not quite sure. He changed it so that the party that gets the most votes, the biggest party in the country that gets the most votes, gets so many more seats in proportion to the percentage of votes they got. So, for example, in 2022, I think in 2022, I think Orban got 54% of the vote, or 52%, and got 2/3 of the MPs in the parliament, right? And that's because of the system in Hungary. And I'm not going to get into the details why it works like that, but it's something called winner compensation, where very quickly, if you're very much ahead in certain constituencies for your first vote, then the difference in those votes from you, and the loser get counted onto the national list. Might not have made sense to many people here, but we created a video about it, I think 2-3 days ago, and you can watch it. But it really compensates winner parties in Hungary. Long answer. Sorry, back to you, Paul.
But yeah, even more than that, though, right? There's going to be people inside the party who have been working very little time. So, and that's something we've had to repeat again. They need to do a good job. They need to work well. They need to find the right people for the right jobs so that they can represent the people of Hungary well and make sure to win that next election in 4 years, which, 4 years is not a very long time. We've got Giorgio Cash with 15 euros who says, small contribution to your future satellite connection. Thank you for the comfort.
Yeah.
Which would be great, actually.
Great idea. That's what we need. We do need that. If we do this more often, we will do that. But continue, Paul.
Yeah, no, that'd be great, actually, to see what it'd be like on the scene. But we had some trouble with the connections. We have Eric Smith with $10 from the United States, says, thank you for the coverage. If Magyar wins, how will that affect the fate of the EU accession candidates? Example, Montenegro, Albania, Moldova, and Ukraine. So, and then he goes on to say, you guys rock. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the question. And for Ukraine, this is very good news because Hungary has been blocking the opening of the first chapter. So in order to become a member of the EU, you need to close what's called 35 chapters. And in these chapters are things like, I don't know, rule of law, environment, agriculture, etc. And you have to meet lots of criteria. And in order to start, you need to open these chapters. So agree, we're going to talk about them. And Hungary has stopped this for Ukraine, right? So now with Orban gone, this will likely be opened, which is great. In terms of the Balkans are moving ahead regardless of Orban because Orban never really had, at least correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he didn't have much issue with the Balkans joining the EU, just Ukraine and Moldova.
Yes, I think I agree with you. I was going to maybe say something about Serbia there, maybe because he has good connections with Serbia, with Vucic, but I wouldn't be professional enough to say anything, really. So I don't want to say anything wrong. Loud Lin with 10 euros. Thank you very much for joining the stream and contributing. Thank you for your great coverage, as always. I know this is an EU-focused channel, but are you planning to cover the U.S. midterm elections? Lambertus,
100%.
Yes.
100%. 100%. Yes. I mean, we're not going to be there, I think, but we will definitely talk about it. And it's I'm going to be very biased here, but I really hope it's going to be an absolute democratic majority in both houses, but we'll have to see.
I also hope for that. And I'm looking forward to it too. But one win at a time, I guess. And right now it's Hungary. So that is great. We got mentioned too with 5 EU Made Simple gift memberships. Wow. Thank you very, very much for that contribution. We really, really appreciate it. That's very generous.
Yeah.
Francois Cullen with 22 euros. Thank you very much. Who says, how will the outcome of this election change the war that is going on in Ukraine?
I mean, there's 2 things that will change instantly. I think so anyway. Péter Magyar is going to lift his veto on 90 billion euro loan that is destined for Ukraine, which Hungary is not even participating in, which is so insane that Orban blocked it. I mean, his reasons are the pipeline. We're not going to get into that now, but the reasons, if you ask me, were not very valid. Then the second thing is a new sanctions package on Russia that will be lifted or now implemented because Orban was blocking that. And I think everything in the future, for example, we talked about enlargement. So I think that will start moving forward for Ukraine. All in all, it's a good day for Ukraine and it's a good day for Europe.
It is, and I think even more than that, right? There's a lot of pressure coming in from for the propaganda side. A lot of people from the Orban government who make anti-Ukraine propaganda work with the Orbis group as well, work with MAGA Republicans to get the voice of MAGA into Europe, which is very, very anti-Ukraine. So this is a big win for Ukraine. Ukraine is looking at this, and it's hard to see this as anything but a massive victory. Then we have TMD Thomas with 20 euros. Thank you very much, Thomas, who says, what's the webpage site projected on the screen? And also asks, how might this weekend weaken Giorgia Meloni's program? Hello from Milan, a US citizen resident in Italy.
Paul, I was distracted by our Paul, can you answer that question? I was very distracted by because we have just by the way, very quickly to everyone here, we have a team that is actually at the Tisa and Fidesz events, and we're trying to get them online. But as mentioned before, we need a satellite internet connection because the 5G just isn't working. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just answer that. Feel free to interrupt me. But Thomas, good question. So this website is the official government website. I think we have the mods spamming it in the chat. I'm not sure how else to give it to you. I think if you search
we
what
spammed it. We spammed it. It should be in the chat.
It should be somewhere in the chat. If it's not, what I did to find this website is I went to Google Translate. I went to Hungarian and I searched election result and in Hungarian. And I Googled that in Hungarian and it led me to this. And luckily they have an English version of the website. So if you cannot find the link somewhere in the chat, then you can follow my steps and hopefully get to the same result. But that is not a guarantee. Let's keep going with the comments, unless you've got an update, Lambertus, on your side.
No comments. Let's continue with the comments.
All right. We've got JT Thompson with 9.99 pounds. Thank you very much, Thompson. J Thompson. He says, keep up the good work, good pod work, team. Please make sure you cover Bulgaria next week. We will. Please make sure to check that out.
Quick update. 53% and 136 seats for Tisa. My God, man, it won't stop.
Yes, this is a landslide.
It is. It's starting to become a landslide now. This is great. This is absolutely great. So good spot. Thanks, chat, for letting me know. Yeah, what should I say? We are now 4 seats now into a super majority. So, man, I want to be at the Tisa event. Like, after this live stream, I'm going into City and I'm going to celebrate with the Tisa people.
You should party, have a little beer or two for everyone who can't make it.
Yeah, definitely. Anyways, we'll continue with the questions.
Yeah. You've got Dova 8 with 10 Canadian dollars. Thank you very much, Dova. Romanian Canadian here. Lovely to see Orban removed after destroying such an amazing country. I agree. Hopefully this leads to more EU cooperation around the world. I hope so. I really, really, really hope so. Okay, keep going. We've got some new ambassadors, Lantos, Gabriela, and Christoph Thomas. Thank you very, very much. Then we've got Cat 567 with $20. Greetings from the US. I'm watching the results from Hungary with hope tonight. A stronger and more democratic Europe is a great sign for the world. I hope this is a sign of restoration of liberal democracy worldwide. What do you think, Lambertus? Do you think this is the start?
And I think it's a big FU to the US, not to the US specifically, but to Mr. Trump, right? Trump supporting candidates does not help you in Europe. Right? That's the message. Like, if you want to interfere in our politics, it's a big FU. Go back. We're not accepting it. Thank you, Hungary. You know, Hungary voted for the anti-Trump candidate, which is great. And you can already see it in Germany too, how the AfD is trying to distance themselves from Trump, because so many people, I think, are realizing that, politicians are realizing that it's not a winning card to be allied to Trump.
I mean, and you see this everywhere. This is not just for Trump, but this is or for AfD or for Orban, who made the mistake of aligning themselves with Trump. But it's also in France, Marine Le Pen, or should I say Jordan Bardella, who has completely distanced themselves from the MAGA Republican movement, which has basically become anti-French anyway. I mean, the amount of times that Trump has attacked, Macron's wife, that's not been respected in France very much. But this is not about France. This is all about Hungary. So I'm going to keep going through some of these chats.
I just want to interrupt you, Paul, because I saw this, a Hungarian actually wrote this, I think. And he said, guys, very important. Peter posted on Facebook that Orban already called him to congratulate for the victory. I mean, I can't state if this is correct. So please let us know in the chat if this is correct. But if that's the case, that is massive. That means Orban has conceded, which is something that many people didn't believe he would do.
That is fantastic news. And you know what I find interesting, Lambertus? It seems like he waited for that magical golden number of 133 seats, right? We did not see this information come out until after we hit that number. I wonder if that has something to do with it.
But maybe let's wait for it to be confirmed, though, because again, I'm sure he's being honest, but I'm not sure if it's correct, right? So let's definitely don't take that with everyone watching. Don't take that as a 100% statement.
By the way, for everyone who's asking, what website is that on the chat? This is the website of the official government. There's mods spamming the website link in the chat. So just, it's there. I can see it in the chat. So just make sure to keep out for a message from Ari there to make sure you can find the website yourself on the chat. But yeah, I mean, if that's true, Lambertus, then this is great. This can't go any better, right? If this is true, then we have no shenanigans from Orban. We have a smooth transition of power and a supermajority for Tisa. So we're looking at potentially quite a smooth shift from Orban politics to hopefully Tisa moderate liberal democracy politics.
Yep, 100%. Sorry, I just had to turn off the light. 100%. Very good days. Good days.
Yeah. All right. And well, I have some questions for you too. We have a bit of a lull, and I see there's so many comments here, and there's just so many that I can almost not go through all of them.
Paul, just check the what. Sorry, just an internal comment. Check the WhatsApp and ask the questions that are posted there.
Yeah. Okay. I will. Otherwise, I'm going to spam you guys with YouTube usernames. Me Miller with $20 says, "Good luck to all Hungarians and Europeans with the results. Here in America, we are watching with hope. And thank you, EUMS, for bringing these results live and in English. Fuck Trump."
Okay.
I just can't help it. I drop the F-bomb every time someone puts it in the chat because it gives me, a legal right, I guess, or something.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's for people joining us now, just a very quick update. Like, let's calm the nerves. So what's happening is we have 54% counted, right? So the night's not over. We do have currently a supermajority for TISA, so that's 136 seats, and you need 133 for a supermajority. So if results stay this way, this is a massive, massive deal. TISA will not only rule the country, it will first have the prime minister, and it can change the constitution, and it can basically undo what Orban has done over the last 16 years. So I saw some Hungarian super chats in the chat too, saying, "Oh, we belong to Europe." And yes, you do. And we're so happy. I'm so happy for one to see these kind of results and see that Hungary voted for Europe and not for Orban, who is supported by, foreign powers like the States and Russia.
Yeah, I mean, again, for reiteration, I saw some comments early on talking about how Hungarians should be begging for forgiveness. I don't think that should be the case. I think this should be proof that as Europeans, we work better together, that when we actually try to change things and we use democracy properly and we push the right arguments the right way, we end up with a good result that brings us all closer together and makes the European Union work as a whole. So now I look back at all these conversations I had about Hungary and Hungary leaving or forcing Hungary out of the European Union, and I'm so glad they're still a part. I'm so glad they get to stick with us and join us on this European journey, and hopefully get rewarded in a positive way for how they voted tonight. I have another chat here with 500 Swedish krona from CNHM 483. Thank you very, very much for your donation and your comment, who says, "Correction from Sweden/Balkan, Orban would have tried to stop Montenegro's EU membership on Putin's order. The Balkan Wars would never have happened if not the Russian and Russian Orthodox Church made it start." So I guess referencing the Montenegro EU accession bill. And I think we have Viktor Orbán, who is giving a speech live here.
Yeah, exactly. He's giving a speech live, which I would love to watch, but I can't get English subtitles on. So we are not going to actually put the sound on because we won't understand anything. But if there are Hungarians here, do let us know what he says. Has he conceded defeat or not? I mean, we'll know soon enough, but I can't understand Hungarian.
And just a quick shout out for any mods who might be on the team. Do look on Sky News or potentially DW. They might have a live English translation. So if you find a translation, please do send us a link. It'd be really, really appreciated. We have Danius B2, who has joined us as a commissioner. Thank you very much, Danius B2. We really, really appreciate it, and welcome to the membership to EU Made Simple. We really appreciate your donation and for you watching the stream today, and everyone who's left so many comments. Thank you for every single one of us. Thank you for every single one of your comments. Lambertus, I'm looking at X and I see that Péter Magyar, the official chat, has just confirmed.
So everyone here, this is big news, right? Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has just called to congratulate us on our victory from Péter Magyar. Sorry, I'm just laughing about the picture below. Okay, that's yeah. Now you can see the kind of stuff I look on X, right? Anyway, no, that's a reply. Okay, fair enough. So Prime Minister Viktor, I mean, this is big, right? It means that Orbán has conceded. It's a massive result. It means that he's not, at least not yet, trying to, I don't know, say that this result is not fair or anything like that. And I think it's fair enough because he's lost massively tonight.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the chat. We have a bunch of chats here saying, we have Nober who gives us 4,500 Hungarian forints with, "We don't want to be a Russian puppet." right? Hungary belongs to Europe. Orban should go to jail for a long time, and enough corrupt, abusive leadership. Greetings from the new Hungary. I think this is what every single Hungarian who has voted for Tisa in the hopes to get rid of this guy wants, right? They're no to Russia, no to Russian influence, no to Putin, no to Donald Trump, no to all of those who have attacked Europe, who have seek to destroy the European Union and the last bastion of democracy which exists properly in the world. And tonight is a great victory for that democracy.
Yeah, it is. It really, really is. I can also see, I'm just going back to the super chat. There's loads of chats. And if we can't answer all questions, we are sorry. We are trying. I think the last one here is from Google account, TR220, who says, hello from Turkey. Very promising results so far. Key question. Why won't EU denounce 1951 to 1967 refugee convention? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know anything about that topic. So do you, Paul?
Well, I think, I think it's, some of the refugee conventions that were done throughout Europe. I'm not too knowledgeable. I don't want to say something wrong. I've heard of it though. So I'm just going to say, I'm not sure, but thank you for your question and thank you for your donation. I wish we could have answered that properly. Lambertus, I have some questions on my end as well, right? So looking at this victory now, this looks like an assured victory for Péter Magyar. I mean, could Putin have some sort of reaction to this? Well, what's going to be the reaction from Putin's side? I mean, Trump probably won't be able to do much, but Putin has a very strong relationship with Viktor Orbán and Fidesz. What are we looking at? Now that Magyar has won the election.
I honestly, we don't. I mean, first of all, it's a bad day for Putin. It's a very bad day in the office, right? And I think there's not a whole lot he can do. I mean, if Orban would have taken a different approach and said, the election is stolen, there's been fraud, it's not fair, stuff like that, Putin would 100% have supported him in that, right? But if Orban now concedes and basically says he's lost, which he's done, then I don't really see Putin doing much. I mean, what can he do, right? His misinformation campaign failed, and Orban lost, right? It's a very clear comment, very clear signal.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing I was thinking about as well. Russia has, with Hungary had this last bastion of Russian influence into Europe, and I see many of this. The war in Ukraine is still very intense. Every single day, Ukrainians dying on the front line, and I think we should talk about that too. But I think Putin will have very little grips left on Europe, very little fangs left in the European continent. And it's almost as if he's going to have to find a way out of, or at least try to escalate, to de-escalate, to try and find a way out of the situation he's in, because, this seems to be a losing battle on every single front. I mean, on the economic front, he seems to be losing. On the Ukrainian front, he seems to be losing. Now on the political front, he's losing in Europe.
I mean, I wouldn't go, I mean, you're going quite, I mean, I wish it was, I mean, you're right, but I mean, these are not massive losses yet. Orban loss is bad, sure, but it's not okay. It's actually very bad. I think Orban was a really important player for him, but I mean, Iran is holding on, I guess, to everything going on. It's more, I mean, not well, but a little bit, I guess. And the Ukraine war is not exactly. I mean, yeah, they're not having the best of months, but they haven't lost either, have they?
No, that is true. That is true. We have some more chats. Heavy 907 with 11 or 12 euros, shall I say. Thank you very much for your contribution. Says, wish this could also happen in Belarus. Thank you for your work, guys.
That's the next country, Paul. Come on, man. We're on a roll.
We have another question about Giorgia Meloni. We didn't get to answer this question, actually. I remember now. This person, TMD Thomas, asked before, and we didn't get a chance to answer, but was asking about Giorgia Meloni and her program. Might this weaken Meloni's program at home now that they're gone as well?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Meloni weakened herself enough a couple of weeks ago by losing the referendum, right? I mean, she's already in pain because of that, and now she has to recover from that. And don't forget that Meloni sits in the ECR, the ECR in the European Parliament, which is the Conservatives, not in the Patriots for Europe with Orban. I don't think Orban and Meloni were ever very good friends or didn't have the same kind of relationship as Orban and, for example, some of the other Patriots, right? Like Geert Wilders and like, what's her name? Le Pen in France, etc. So I don't think it necessarily weakens Meloni, conclusion, because Meloni's weakening herself with that referendum.
I think what it does most of all is weaken the narrative of anti-EU right-wing rhetoric. That's what's really been hurt here. I think Meloni, although she's quite a controversial figure, definitely has less of an anti-EU rhetoric. Now, personal opinions aside, that's one thing that is true. She's been more pro-EU than we first thought. Now, I'm not talking about her internal
100%. 100%. She's very pragmatic. Like her or not like her, whatever she does domestically is a different story, but she's been very pragmatic on EU level.
I very much agree. And I think this will kind of actually reinforce Meloni in politics throughout the bloc, because maybe Meloni's approach of being, populist right, some would even say far right, especially Italians, or even far right, this populist right, far right rhetoric doesn't have to be anti-EU. And I've said this multiple times before. You don't need to be anti-EU to be anywhere on the political spectrum. So yeah. I think a lot of leaders are going to look at this and say, okay, being anti-EU does not work. Being pro-Russia does not work. There's been zero benefit for Orban, and now he's paid for it electorally, and I hope they will keep paying for it until every single one of them is gone, and I think it's great news.
I love your comment, Paul, because I believe this too. I believe exactly what you said. Fight for your right-wing issues on an EU level. You can battle immigration on an EU level if you want to, but why far right-wingers always associate anti-EU rhetoric to a far right position? It doesn't have to be the case. So yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, it's a very important point, and there we go. That's what happens when you do far right anti-EU politics and go for illiberal democracy. So yeah, a big victory for liberal democracy, and for Meloni's platform, I think it's a mixed bag, but definitely for all the anti-European voices, it's a big loss, and this can only be good news. It's hard to see it in any other way. And with 60% of the votes counted, I mean, it's looking pretty good, Lambertus, no?
Yeah, it's getting. I mean, TISA 100% won. The poly market. Let's check poly market actually. If anyone wants to check that, what the percentages are of TISA making a supermajority. I mean, it looks pretty clear. I don't see. I can't see the staying, to be honest. It's game over.
It's game over for Orban. Bye, Orban. Everyone on the chats with the European flags. Orban, they're out. Polymarket has 91% for supermajority. That is fantastic.
That's amazing, man. I can't believe Tisa's getting a supermajority. But dude, Paul, it's really on Péter Magyar now. The Hungarians have given him such a crazy mandate. It kind of reminds me when the UK, not England, just the UK gave Keir Starmer, a mandate, such a massive mandate, and he kind of ruined it, right? At least he's making a little bit of a comeback, but he kind of ruined it. Now it's Péter Magyar's chance. Don't ruin it, dude. Make the most out of it. Reverse some of the bad policies. Become a good member of the EU, great member, and let's become strong together.
Yeah, I'm just looking in the chat, all the European flags. It's absolutely beautiful. And you're absolutely right. I mean, that's one of my main concerns. And actually, we had this conversation back on our last live stream when we were talking about Hungary about 2 months ago. And we were talking about how, if Hungary doesn't really go through these reforms, then it's going to be punished electorally. But another aspect we talked about is if Hungary does not properly, or if this lack of a Orban veto still does not let the EU evolve and turn into the superpower it needs to be, then that could also be a danger there, right? We were talking about how the Orban veto has really blocked so much progress on the European level. But without that veto now, Europe has almost no excuse, right? We need to work together.
I know.
What do you think about that?
The only thing that, and I don't want to put a downer on the whole thing tonight, right? But the only thing I worry about a little bit is that Europe will now again get lazy. And by lazy, I mean, Orban's veto is gone. Let's not reform. Let's not reform the veto because now there's no more need for it to reform because the bad member that was always using it is gone and we can find commonality and everything. And that would be a terrible mistake because another new Orban is just around the corner. So as much as I love this result, it's a great night. We should all celebrate, but let's not stop pressuring our politicians. Guys, the veto has to go. It has to go because we cannot have this happen again, right? In a year's time, things might look different again. I mean, imagine Le Pen wielding the veto. Flipping hell, man. I don't want that.
Yeah, I think never again are the words to remember, right? Yeah. Never again. Never again another Orban. Never again this veto, never again this repression that was in Hungary, a proud liberal country which rose up against the Soviets in 1956, got brutally murdered by repressive regimes, and never again. And so I think that's what the message should be here. Not only should we try to avoid this from happening, but we should reform the system, the core European system, to prevent these kind of people from getting power, to prevent them from causing chaos on the European continent, to prevent them from actually progressing the way we need to progress as a European entity, as the European Union. So that's really something I would like to see from this election result.
I have some news also, Paul, right here. So BBC translated the speech, Orban's speech, of what he said. And I got this from a Discord member, by the way, so thank you so much. And Orban told his supporters that their task is clear. We don't have the weight of governing the country, so we have to build our communities. And he also thanked the 2.5 million voters who voted for Fidesz. That's still 2.5 million voters. And promised they would never be let down. And he also goes on saying, we never give up. This is one thing people know about us. We never give up. The days of us are for us to heal our wounds. Okay, so basically, that's a statement of we're going in the opposition, right? He's very, very clear. We're going to rule the opposition and, not giving up.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is great news. It means he's conceded, and it means there's going to be no contest, and he's actually respected the Constitution. Now, one thing we should stay aware of is this guy's not going away, right? He's here in 4 years' time. We need to win every election against this guy. Every election that people like Orban needs to be won. So even though we have a win, 137. Wow.
I mean, I'm getting tired of celebrating. Yes, Paul, 137. I mean, it's just getting ridiculous now. Crazy good night. And I think we have some super chats we haven't answered yet, Paul, right? Should we get to those?
Yes, let's go for that. Apologies for the wait. Jonah Black 2000 with 50 Czech crowns. Thank you very much for your contribution. Well, now we have to worry about Slovakia's mafia vetoing the EU. We really need the EU to remove unanimous voting.
Agreed. 100%.
This is again what I was just talking about in terms of we need to reform the system so that it's not damaged like people like Orban. Again, we have now E. Brucian with 10 euros who says, hi guys, quick question. Will this election radicalize MAGA and co-politicians, since we see that you can lose with free elections, although they're not fair? That's a good question too. Will this radicalize MAGA into using or other corresponding
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, how much further do you want to radicalize? I think like a Fidesz, again, look at the video we created last week, the stuff they did in order to try to change his election and their whole rhetoric around the campaign. They've also been quite radical with some of their policies, etc. So I don't know, like, how far do you want to go? I mean, Paul, have you got an opinion here?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think it's hard to generalize. I can't talk about every single election. I know a decent amount about the American elections. I think they're quite hard. They're quite decentralized, so they're quite hard to fake or to try and get something out of them that would be unfair. But what I do think is that Trump is a determined person, and I don't think it's past his moral compass to do such a thing. But what I would say is democracies in Europe stay quite strong. Now we've seen what's happened in Hungary. We have to make sure Péter Magyar can try and fix the system to prevent it from happening like that again. But really what needs to happen is there needs to be more republicanism, more liberalism, democratic liberalism, to try and avoid these kind of things. And I might radicalize certain people, but I'm not so sure.
Paul, by the way, I just got this up. So Ursula von der Leyen is one of the first to congratulate, at least ones that I found. And she says, Hungary has chosen Europe. Europe has always chosen Hungary. Together we are stronger. A country reclaims its European path. The union grows stronger. Hungary has chosen Europe. Okay, it's the same thing twice. I think probably because of different languages, exactly. So she wrote that in Hungarian and in English. I mean, fair play on her. I mean, she must be like, oh my God, finally.
Probably a pretty good Monday to get to the office too, right? Like,
yeah. I think a lot of leaders. I mean, I would love it. Like, for our admins who are sending us this stuff, great. Keep these coming in our chat so we can share them with the live stream.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of congratulations here. Macron will not be far behind. I think. Oh wow, Macron is not an Orban enjoyer, I would say. But yeah, basically, you've got a picture of Orban with his arms crossed like this, a bit like Trump in the NATO meetings, right? So I think it's going to be a relief for all the European leaders, all of the co-workers working together to try and finally get rid of this guy.
Yeah, 100%.
We have a super chat from Kobilara 2 with 100 Czech crowns, who says, I exactly agree with Lambertus that we can't sit quiet now. Reform needs to move on. Use the opportunity to agree with Hungary to release funds, etc., and to agree with taking away the voting right from Fico or to move to QMV, I guess they're talking about.
Yeah, 100% agreed. QMV is the way to go, man. That's the most important thing. And yeah, I can only restate it. Like, please, let us not get complacent in the EU. We do this too often, and I always get so tired when there's politicians on TV shows or wherever when they say, "Oh well, guys, we just have to sit out the Trump era for 2 more years." I hate these statements. Stop it and let's get on with it, right? And yeah, I mean, not much more to be said there.
Europe just needs to be more proactive. We need to work more.
We're so reactive, aren't we, Paul?
Yeah. Every single situation we have right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Not just in Hungary, but in Iran, in Ukraine, with the Trump administration, even with China and the EVs and the market share. Always reactive, but reactive 5 years late.
Yeah, and dude, even the 90 billion euro loan to Ukraine. We tried to convince Orban, but then we just sat back and hoped that Orban would lose the election. That was our approach.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's very reactive and it's a lot of hope, which is sad. But let's not get the mood down because, man, I'm seeing the 137 on the screen and it still makes me happy.
Yeah, that is true. A win is a win. European Union enjoyer. Oh, thank you for joining the stream. You join us quite often. Who gives us 50 Polish zloty? Lambertus, you said that you're getting tired of celebrating. It reminds me of the Trump 2016 phrase, you may even get tired of winning. And would you look at that? He's right on this evening. Europa Invicta.
I agree, man. Well, I'm not getting tired of winning just yet. I mean, this is because, it's not being like a very pro-European channel is literally like a roller coaster ride, right? One time you're super happy. I mean, Paul, we talked about this, like Mercosur passed, whatever, and then the next day it fails, right? There's stories like this all the time.
It's bipolar. So I'll get a message from Lambertus and he'll be telling me it passed, it went through, and then the next day I'll call him. He's super depressed. It didn't go through.
Honestly, I know there's different opinions in the chat, but Mercosur with the MEPs actually pushing Mercosur to the court is the first time I actually wrote MEPs saying, "What are you doing?" And it's funny, they actually replied, a lot of them, but I was so upset by that.
I mean, but you just see that like a lot of people actually have a pro-European voice. I mean, you see just everyone who's watching the live stream today. I mean, I'm not sure if you're all pro-European, but I think probably quite a few of you have positive views. And it's just to show that the electorate is very pro-EU, and the world leaders are not representing that enough.
No, they're not.
People are tired of this local international politics that don't work internationally. They're tired of watching Europe be beaten left, right, and center, squashed between several superpowers, be influenced by billionaires in America, by vice presidents of the United States, by Russian aristocrats. They're tired of this. They're tired of it. They want something that works, and Europe is the way to do it. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying it's got a lot of reform, but you can see here just by one votes, people are voting for Europe, and you're rewarded electorally when you vote for Europe. And that's really what needs to happen.
I honestly think that Europeans, can see it in the chat, the celebrations and everything, right? Like, I feel the electorate is ahead of the politicians when it comes to Europeanism. They really are. Like, just polls about defense. We want a defense union. I think 83% of Europeans support the idea. And yet, what are we doing? Building up national armies. It all makes no sense. And let this be another sign to our politicians. Guys, come on, let's do more together. That's what we ultimately all want, so that we can actually, protect Europe.
Yeah, and again, another step in the right direction with now almost 67% of the the votes counted, and with a clear TISA super majority, reaching that golden number for everyone who's joined us just now. They've reached the golden number of 133, even surpassed it by 4 seats, which means they now have a super majority in the Hungarian parliament, and so they should be good to go to reform the country for the next few years, which is quite positive. And actually, let me tell you, Lambertus, how I feel tonight, because I feel relief. I feel a lot of relief. We've had a terrible few years as Europe. I mean, we've had our ups and downs, as we were just talking about, but we've had a Trump administration, war in Ukraine, war in Iran, economic crises looming on the horizon, political crises in multiple European countries, rise of AI, incompetency not going too well for Europe. And let me tell you, it's such a breath of fresh air. 138 seats. Look at that. That's fantastic. 138.
I know.
And it's such a breath of fresh air to see that finally Europe has a victory in its pocket. And hopefully this is the start of a long run of victories that are coming.
I completely agree, Paul. It's a lovely evening. And I think here a super chat from Vers Voete for €10 says the same thing in Dutch. Eindelijk een feestavond, de eerste sinds Brexit. Basically meaning finally a celebration evening, the first since Brexit. Yeah. And honestly, he makes a point, right? This is probably, I mean, what else was really good? No, this is probably the biggest European moment we've had in a long time, right? Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, I would argue that, this is the proper win we've had in a long time, but we've had not losses, right? In terms of maybe the European elections, which could have gone far worse.
Yeah, but it's always like that. Sorry to interrupt you, Paul, but it's exactly like you said. It's always like, whew, a sigh of relief. And this is, yes, a sigh of relief, but it's much more because it went so far in the other direction that it's like, oh my God, it's a massive win.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. It's exactly. You've put it perfectly for me, right? It's exactly that. Like when Macron won again in 2022, I mean, it was great, and I'm very happy about his European platform. But it was more of a sigh of relief that it wasn't the worst person, and now it's a real victory in our hands, and that is something to really celebrate and look forward to tonight.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the chat, and I quite like this question from Flammen for a super chat. Thank you so much. And he asks, at Lambertus, in what way did you reach out to the parliament? How should others go about contacting their representatives? What are the proper channels? Very clear, honestly, like the official email addresses of MEPs, forget it. You're never going to get a response. At least I haven't. What I normally do is I go via LinkedIn, very professional, or I go via Instagram. And I think the strength that that the channel, of course, has, as EU Made Simple, is we have a community behind it, right? So maybe that's also one of the reasons why politicians might be more inclined to answer, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. Like every time you don't like something, reach out to your local politician. It really does help, and make your voice heard, because I'm not going to name any names, but having talked to some of these politicians, their arguments, this is Mercosur, were ill-informed at best, really. Like it was... yeah, I mean, I don't want to go deeper into it, but I was a bit disappointed.
We have a super chat, Lambertus, from Divis D9E with €5. Thank you very much for your contribution. Europe must be more vocal to our people, explaining what they are doing and why it is important. There is no clear communication beyond announcements. Yes, yes, yes. And I've said this time and time again. Their communication is abysmal. It is terrible. It's part of their job. And as you made simple, I've had the very good chance of talking to some people in European institutions, and trust me, they're trying. They're really trying, but it's not so easy. It's not so simple. Lambertus, I don't know if you have anything to add on that front.
Man, it's the reason I started the channel. It's the reason I started the channel 4 years ago, was because I didn't get the European Union. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get it. I looked into it deeper, and then all of a sudden I got to know more about it. And then instead of explaining things to my friends, because I had massive discussions around Brexit with my UK friends, and instead of trying to explain it, I just started making videos. And that's how we came to today.
And actually, I sent Lambertus an email almost a year and a half ago today, and he's brought me onto this amazing project. So thank you, Lambertus.
You're welcome, man. And I saw a comment in here saying, we love your channel. So Paul, we're getting a bit of love of the audience, which is great.
That is great. That is great. Yeah. Great to see. We love you guys too. Thank you for joining the stream. We have another contribution, 500 Czech crowns. Wow, thank you very much. Choose Woe, who says it might not come to question to remove the voting rights of Slovakia, as it would be up to Babiš to oppose that, and he really hates conflicts. Fico will behave. What do you think? I think he's right. I think Choose Woe is right. What do you think, Lambertus? Will Fico behave?
The thing is, there is one article, and I can't remember the number, but there's an article in the EU where you can take the voting rights away from a member state if they are not in line with EU values and EU rules, right? And that was never possible with Orban because he always had a friend in Fico, at one point maybe even Geert Wilders, Babiš to an extent maybe. That was a reason why he could misbehave that way, because we could never take away his veto or his voting rights. But now with Orban gone and Péter Magyar there, we could take away Fico's rights, right? Because Orban's not there to protect Fico. Yeah. So this is what I mean. This is why it's so good to have one of these leaders go away, because it empowers the EU to use articles it could never use before.
Yeah.
Article 7. Thank you, chat. Article 7. Thanks.
Yeah, a lot more power there, power to reform. I am a bit worried about Slovenia, although there's no concrete results on that. And I don't want to put a downer on this fantastic evening, so don't want to get into that right now. We have an interesting chat from Netadahul993 with 50 Danish krona. Thank you very much. Who says, I haven't been a big fan of the EU, but after they started showing what they have, that they have some backbone, I've changed my mind about it. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for your comments. I think this is really transparent, and I think this is coming from maybe potentially some viewer base who maybe is not typical to what we watch, but I think you're absolutely correct. I think when Europe shows some backbone, when Europe imposes itself and does and represents its citizens, it pays off, right? It creates this European sentiment. And if you just kind of trail around and don't do what the European population wants you to do, then of course you're not going to be popular, because you're not doing what you were voted to do. So that's a very good comment there, and I agree with what you're saying.
So do I.
Lambertus.
Yeah.
This one is in French. Oh, the start is in French. I'll just read it out. Thank you, Boudin Bambou, with 10 Czech francs, who says, Bravo les Hongrois, which is congratulations to the Hungarians. I've been a few times to Budapest, and I found it very angry about how Orban was taking his country hostage for his own interests. Hungary will be free, and the best is coming. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Bora Gurel with £2 asks, are you hopeful that Magyar will be more pro-EU?
Yeah. 100%. I mean, there is actually one thing. I'm not sure. Is it worth showing that actually? But here, let me quickly show this, because it is quite interesting. Because we interviewed a politician at a TISA event, and I actually had this clip ready. It's only like 1 minute, but I think that would give you a clear idea of their approach or their view of the EU. Very quick, guys. Here, have a look at this. I thought it was super interesting. Here we go. So this is us interviewing. Listen to this.
Important to know that even within the EU, we represent Hungary, and it's very important that we represent the Hungarian.
So this is a TISA member of parliament, by the way.
Interests, but we think that Europe is part of our cultural history. Hungary has been here in Europe over 1,000 years. Our first Christian king, Stephen I, Saint Stephen I, said that Hungary is part of Europe. This is a very important part for us culturally and historically, and we want to honor that. Obviously, we will consider Hungarian interests and take them first, but I think Europe as a whole needs to overcome challenges of the future, and there are many things that we can only do together that we can't do separately.
So I thought that was very interesting, because this was a TISA representative, and I think he was trained to say it this way. But it is very clear that even though they're definitely pro-European Union, don't forget that Péter Magyar does come from a more conservative background, does come with relationships with TISA back in the day. I mean, I'm not going to get into all of that, but he basically left TISA and created or joined TISA and made that big.
Right, left
Fidesz.
Fidesz.
Sorry, left Fidesz. Sorry. Left Fidesz and then joined TISA and made that party big. So I wouldn't say he's like a Macron back in the day who wanted like a European army and all of us to federate. But he's definitely so much better than someone like my God, Orban. I'm messing up the names.
We're getting tired after 2 hours of excitement. And for anyone who's just joined us, well, unlikely that you just joined us, but for anyone who's just joined us in this live stream, we have 72.5% of the votes counted, with a crushing victory from TISA, a pro-European party, which of course, well, more pro-EU than Orban and his Fidesz party. And we're looking at a massive victory for Europe. So thank you for joining the stream, and thank you for all your comments, for your contributions, for viewing. Thank you for being here. We really, really appreciate it. While the stream is still going, I want to give a quick shout out to our Spotify. It's not in the description, but we have a Spotify, You Made Simple. We're trying to grow it. So if you have Spotify on your phone, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a quick follow, we'd really appreciate it. We repost all of the live streams on Spotify, so you can have a listen there if you miss our stream. We have a chat, or a super chat, from Gent Ferdinand, who says, in verite concordia, vivat crescat floreat and multos annos, which translates in Latin to may it live, grow, and flourish for many years. And no, I do not speak Latin. We have a translator here. Thank you, Till, for your translation. I would love to speak Latin, potentially the language of the EU, right? But hot debate topic. So maybe.
And also, Paul, let's also thank Brian for becoming a member. And I think someone else became a member too. Who do we have there? Well, I only can see Brian, sorry. But yeah, thank you for supporting the channel.
We have Vincent Muller with 10 euros. Thank you very much for your contribution, who says, great to see the results. It is. Love to see it. Cheers from Volt Europa. Welcome, Volt Europa. Welcome, Volt members. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for your contribution. 100 MPH says, and I think this is an interesting question, Lambertus, because I think it can go quite deep. So 100 MPH asks, why did Trump support Orban?
It's a really good question, but I think there's multiple reasons, right? So I think I'll start with the ideological one, right? The whole issue around migration is very much aligned with Trump. Gender ideology, stuff like that, very much aligned with Trump, as in like against all of the gender. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's very aligned with him. So ideology is close to Trump. That's the first thing. I think the second thing is Orban was also very loyal to Trump, and kind of, well, represented U.S. interests in Europe. And what I mean by U.S. interests, and I shouldn't say U.S. interests, I should say Trump interests, is by keeping the EU weak, right? Orban was able to keep the EU weak, divided, not aligned on certain issues. And that means that Trump, in that case, has a lot easier way of basically bullying us, right? So that's I think, the second big reason. And yeah, I think those two are the most important. But Paul, have I missed something?
No, I mean, you're spot on. But I would add to that as well, with the Orbis Institute, the MAGA influence into Europe, that there's a Christian influence there that is very prominent. But it's also this weird kind of connection between Trump, Putin, and Hungary, right? Where oil flows into Hungary. They buy from Russian oil, or at least they did under Orban, and Trump encouraged that. I think this MAGA alliance was built over several things, and there's no proven transfers of money and wealth. But I wouldn't be surprised if potentially after this government takes power, that some things might be uncovered in terms of that relationship, which was a very close one between the Orban government and Trump. I think what you say is exactly right. I think Trump hates the EU, hates the EU,
yeah,
despises it, and so sees it as a wave of globalism, which
Paul, that's because he can't bully the EU. That's the problem. If the EU stuck together, we could literally show US or show Trump the finger. I'd be like, nah, we're not doing that. And then Trump would have to taco out. He would have to taco out in order to make deals with us, because face it, we are more people than the US. We on the continent are over 700 million people, and the US 340 or something. So Trump has to do business with us. So, and that's the thing that I don't understand, that these nationalists just do not get. Like, guys, if you say nationalist, you're going to give away your sovereignty to the US or to China or maybe to Russia. If you give some sovereignty to the EU, you get to influence what the EU does, and you probably have to give away a lot less. I mean, that is, for me, is the argument. And yeah, that's what I think we need to be looking at.
I never understand those who say, oh, but the US is our ally, so we need to please them. But the EU is this horrible administrative frameworks that the Germans are going to decide everything for us. What are you talking about? I mean, fast food, all American. Your phone built using American technology. All the websites you browse spend, this website, YouTube, American. Everything we use is American. Everything we talk about is American, right? And you're scared that Germany will be able to, be able to invest into your country and potentially create some more jobs, or France will be able to integrate some of your citizens into its country and create better opportunities, working opportunities. It's a ridiculous idea. And we've just given up so much sovereignty to the United States. We went to war for them. We went to Afghanistan, and the same on Russia's side when we bought all their petrol and their gas, and we lost a lot of sovereignty to them. I'm thinking a lot about Germany here, but it's not just Germany; it's about Hungary as well, right? So previously Hungary. So
it's insane.
This loss of sovereignty, it goes somewhere, and it's not gonna stay at home, if that makes sense.
Paul, let me go through some quick super chats because there's people that are being very generous. Thank you. So Andre from Italy, long live a free united Europe. Thank you, Andre. Hari Selden, go Hungary. Cheers from Canada. Thank you so much. We love you, Canada. Then we have Damien for €5. Do you think Slovakia and Czechia will now take on and continue the case for Slovakia to a pro-Russian bastion, or might change course? No, I don't think so. At least Czechia, I definitely don't think so. I think Babiš is too pragmatic. And Slovakia, without its friend in Orban, they could be problematic. But as I explained before, the EU now has more power because there's not two, there's just one. And one, you can remove their vote. Then quickly going to Longline, £20. Wow, very generous. Thank you. And he says, excellent coverage. In Hungary, voting stats. Why are so many votes not valid? Less than 70% valid across most regions. If you can't answer that now, please make a note and do journalism later. Lots of love from London. And Longline, we appreciate your £20, but I cannot answer that, to be honest. And I can have a look into it and potentially try to put it into our video tomorrow. Paul, I think you don't know either, right?
Sorry, I missed
Don't
that.
Worry. Don't worry.
The chat.
Yeah, then Jiffy Mac, go Europe, go. Thank you very much. Then Dominic Gluhan for €5. It was impossible to find a good election coverage in English anywhere. Thank you for providing the space to follow the elections. Cheers from Berlin. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the super chat. Then we have the Bushna for $10 here from the USA. May this mark the beginning and move towards a more united EU and middle powers beginning to forge their own path and away from superpowers like the US. Yes, Canada, the EU, the UK, Switzerland, Norway, Japan, South Korea, let's all become the middle powers of the world and push back to these bullies until they're bullies no more,
Yes, one election at a time.
Exactly, one election at a time. Then Rob Wolven from Canada, countries yet to ratify CETA, Belgium, Bulgaria, Cyprus, France. Paul, apparently you have to rectify CETA.
Sorry, would you mind repeating that? Sorry,
yeah, so this is Rob Wolven. He said, countries yet to rectify CETA. CETA, I think it's a trade agreement of some sort. It's the Canadian one, I think.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. This has not been talked about in France at all.
Yeah.
It's not on my radar, but good question, Rob. I'm going to look into that. Actually, I think that's a really interesting case. I think trade deals are not really talked about much in France due to just the radioactivity of what happened with Mercosur. So I think politicians are scared to touch that thing.
We have a trade agreement with Canada. I'm pretty sure we do, but I think part of it still needs to be rectified. But yeah, we'll look into that. Then we have Johasin Moncanta for €1. Thank you so much. Then Love from India for €10. I'm very happy for Hungary. Congratulations. Good news after such a long time. Yes, we are so happy too. As you can see in this stream, it's all like a bit of a celebration together. So thank you for joining us. Then it's them, Danny, becoming a member of parliament. Thank you for supporting us. Then €2 from Huku. Will the EU be able to remove the veto? No, the veto will not be removed yet, but there's one less person actually using it, which is great. And then Rock for €2. Thanks for the great online coverage. Le Querido for €6. Thank you for supporting us. And Mr. Potato Head becoming an ambassador. Thank you. So I went really quickly through all of your support. Again, this is not because I'm not thankful. It's just because there's quite a lot of you supporting us, which is great. And then one last one here for $5. The plum abides. Thanks from a deep red state in the US. Please continue to embarrass Trump regime. Well, Paul, we love embarrassing the Trump regime, so that should not be a problem.
We do. Every time we're live, I find some mean words to say about some of these
Yeah.
of these world leaders. So make sure to come back for more.
You know what I love about the chat too? Everyone's saying, can Vance please visit us? Like, for example, in Belarus or in Germany or in France. And I agree with you, man. Let Vance please do a tour across Europe. Because
I would love to have Trump sitting right next to Jordan Bardella and just talk about how French are cowards for about 1 hour, right?
Yeah.
And then right before the election would be great, and see how that goes. That would probably shift the whole. Not that I think that is one of my opinion, but I would love to see the poll numbers for Bardella just fall into the toilet. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great. And the French election. So yeah, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, French elections are coming, and Paul is a real expert when it comes to France. I've heard him talk literally hours on it. Definitely subscribe to us because we'll be covering everything to do with France when it comes up next year.
I just can't stop talking about it in any kind of live stream.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Eurobonds in this stream yet.
There we go. I was gonna say Lambertus, joint debt. No,
I honestly, Paul, I think one thing that would make you even more happy is if then Orban losing this election is if Eurobonds were implemented.
Oh my God, I'd be so happy if Eurobonds were implemented. That would be such a victory. I can't. Again, this is about Hungary, but I can't stress enough how much like Eurobonds would fix so many problems, not just the debts, but that went down, right?
Yeah, it did. Okay. Quick intermediary here. So we have 81.5% counted, and TISA went down by 1 from 138 to 137. So again, a solid majority by 4 seats, very solid. But yeah, I mean, obviously, TISA supporters, which we obviously are for this election, this is not great. Let's hope it doesn't go down further.
Look, I mean, there's still a lot of votes to count again from the cities that are coming in, so it's not sure yet what we could get for the final results. I think once we start approaching the 90% counted, it's really going to start being a fixed election. But I don't expect this to keep going down because there's so many votes in the cities left to count, right? So
yeah,
I don't want to call it because my heart would be broken if this ends on 132.
It would be broken too. I mean, let's have a look here. Is there any? So, for example, here, Budapest capital. So, how far is this?
90% of the votes counted? Did that just, or did I just?
That's by county. So, from the counties, 89% is counted. I think, if I'm reading this correct. So, just for the chat, everyone to know, there's 2 votes in Hungary. You get a vote number 1 and vote number 2. Vote number 1 goes to constituencies. So, this is the classic first past the post system. The politician that has the most votes, majority, will get the seat in the parliament. And then you have a second vote, and this is basically national list. So that's proportional representation. The party with the most percentage gets the seat in the parliament. So, and I think there's 106 seats, I think, or 103 seats, I think, or something like that. Here, 106. Yeah, from constituencies and 93 from lists. So this is the first vote from constituencies, and 88.5% has been counted, which is a lot more than the national. But
I think this might be good news because if I remember about how this works, the single member constituencies, the extra votes will go to the list parties, and if those have been counted already, then you already have the constituency extra votes which have been attributed to the list party. I'm getting a bit technical here, but then I believe if those are gone and they've all been counted, then it's all about the popular votes, which should be in Magyar's favor, in Tisa's favor. Although looking at this map here, I almost think maybe the constituency is more important, right? So a mixed bag. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, I think what you're talking about is winner's compensation. So very quickly explanation for everyone that doesn't know yet. So the first vote, so the 106 here, as we said, the winner of each constituency takes a place in the parliament. But the second vote has a specific mechanic. And what it is that it's called winner compensation. So if we take a constituency and Tisa wins it, for example, by, let's say, I don't know, a landslide, and Fidesz doesn't, right, and gets let's say 10% of the votes that Tisa gets, then basically on the national lists are added the difference between the Fidesz party, how many votes they got, and the Tisa party, and those votes get added onto the national list. At the same time, the losing party, in this case TISA, also gets their votes, their losing votes, added to the national lists. What this normally does is it snowballs the winner's total votes, right? Their majority, so that they get an even bigger majority normally. So this could, of course, help TISA if they win a lot of the constituencies. But yeah, in the past it's helped Fidesz, and I hope that made sense how I just explained it.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I think look, we're at 137, right?
Yeah.
We're not looking at a loss here. How many votes we have counted? 81.49. I think as long as the trajectory stays within the TISA supermajority, I think we're going to be a-okay. Remember, all we need is that golden number of 133. We got 4 seats of margin, so there's still some margin there in case it goes down. I'm seeing from our chat the DK party leader has resigned. Fantastic news. So, good news all around. I just want to go back to some of the chat here who have some quite pressing questions, some quite good questions, actually. So let me go through them now. We have one comment first from Danius B2 with €5. Thank you very much. Who says we should sponsor JD Vance's European lecture tour on free speech and liberty.
100%. We definitely should.
We have another good question, which I just saw it go through my chat, so I'm just going to do it from memory. But someone's asking that we talk more about the veto. Lambertus,
can you talk about the veto? I have a call I have to take. Okay, so can you talk about it for a bit? Yeah, thanks.
All right, so I'm going to go on a bit of a monologue here, chat. Please correct me if I am wrong, but the veto essentially is a way for European leaders to veto a certain amendment or a certain law or a certain decision made by the Commission and the Parliament. So what that entails basically is that any country can block a decision which it might not agree with, which sounds great on paper because that means that, if you have the veto, no country can be forced to have a rule or a law that they might not agree with, which is why we built this initially, this veto power. The problem with the veto power is when you have 27 member states, it gets a little bit complicated. You have 27 different countries with 27 different interests. And of course, if you have that many different interests, you're going to find some difficulty in compromises sometimes, or you might even have some actors that don't act in full faith, right? That might go against what needs to be done in terms of the electoral system, how people voted, even on a European level. So for example, what Orban was doing is, even though Hungary, a very important piece of the EU, but it only had about 9 million in population, these voters basically were able to veto a lot of the decision made by 360 or 400 and something million Europeans on certain really important decisions, especially on foreign policy, things like Ukraine, the Ukraine aid bill, where military equipment was sent to Ukraine. So this is why the veto is such a thorn for Europe, because it prevents some decisions from being made, and especially reform. And I'm just talking about this is essentially with Orban gone, we may have a chance, of not having this veto. Before, it was a bit of a taboo using the veto. Orban made it less taboo. That's a bit of a statement, but essentially without Orban, there'll be less veto, and maybe we can reform to what's called QMV, qualified majority voting, which is when 65% of the population representing 55% of the population representing 65% of member states can decide whether or not a law gets enacted or not, or a decision gets enacted or not. And that is what we consider here at EU Made Simple as the golden standard for what European democracy should look like.
Paul, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah. I need to start working on the video for this election. So we got 5 minutes left, or maximum 10 minutes of the stream. So maybe we have a look at all of the chats that we've gotten. I saw that we got a €50 super chat.
Yeah.
That is insane. I think that's the biggest super chat we ever got.
I think so. Yeah, €50 is crazy. Unless we got some super chat in a foreign currency. In a foreign currency, which may have been quite impressive, but I wouldn't know about. But thank you very much, Anotax245 for €50. Thanks for the coverage of this important event. Andrew from Malta, EU. Wish TISA get 60% legislation control. This exchange has been long overdue. Europe can finally move forward and not be blocked on important decisions. Yes, Andrew. I very much agree. And thank you for your contribution. We really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. And we have some other super chats. We got another member. So thank you, Fico, for becoming a member. And then we got here a send love for Swiss francs. People can vote for Europe with their investments, pensions, etc. too. No financial advice, but you can research MSCI Europe ETF, for example, and everyone profits from financial education. Yes, and I love that comment because I also have been moving a lot of my US investments, and this is no marketing, by the way, this is just what I've personally done, away from the US and into European actual companies, which I think is a great idea.
Yes, be careful though. I just want to do a quick shout out for this. Be careful when you move your stocks that you don't pay too much taxes. In Europe, it's taxed differently depending on the country that you're in. But if you're moving your assets from America to Europe, which I very much encourage you to do, I think it's a good idea for your portfolio. But if you do that, make sure you don't pay sometimes quite outrageous fees. Make sure you do it in a legal.
You're a financial advisor now, Paul.
Yes.
Like,
I should have.
How do we go from Hungary, from you giving tax advice to our stream?
So I can't help myself. It's my profession relies on this. But look at this number. It says 138 seats now in TISA.
Yeah.
So we're back up. We're back on the uptrend, on the up trajectory.
Yeah, it's great. We're back up, and now we have 85% counted. Guys, it's over. It's over. Like, this is going to be one of the most fun videos I'm going to make during the night about the elections, because I'm going to be, it's going to be a very, very positive video on what it means for the future of Europe, which is great. Yeah, exactly.
Someone on the chat said 133 is now mathematically and statistically secure, and I really think they're right. It was on the super chat. I just saw it pass on the chat, but yeah, I think this is great. This is great news.
Well, time to celebrate with everyone in the city here, because I am in Budapest. I hope everyone's having a drink tonight. We've deserved it.
Very much. Have a beer, or 2 or 3 or 9. I'll have a glass of wine.
You are French, Paul.
I am French.
You need to make more fun of me too, you know. You can't make fun of me being Dutch and living in Germany. Like,
that is true. That is true. I'll figure something out. Lambertus, I mean, we're coming up on the wrap on the stream here. Any last words? Any last thoughts on what you think? I mean, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. But any last thoughts, Lambertus?
I mean, guys, like, this is, we said it many times, but this is an incredible result for Hungary and Europe. And this is past all of my expectations, right? When I went to Hungary on Wednesday or Thursday, I even have a clip on it. I think it's in a reel or in a video where I said, I think it's going to be very tight. And this was not tight, man. This is an absolute landslide. And thank you for all the Hungarians on the chat that got everyone to vote in their families. And, you know, in the rural areas, everything. Awesome. You did really well. And it's great to see Hungary back as like a proper European member, which they deserve to be and which they are. And then also, of course, to the audience today. I mean, I've never seen so many super chats for our stream ever in my 4 years here at EU Made Simple. And guys, seriously, you make this all possible. Like, you make this fun, and thank you from the bottom of my heart, seriously.
I want to say a big thank you as well. And I want to say this is our victory, right? This is a victory for every single European on the block, in the block, or not in the block. This is a victory for every single European. This is a victory for every single person in Canada, for every single person in any of the middle power countries, or even people in the United States who joined us all the way from the US, who want to see liberal democracy win, who want to see freedom prevail. This is something that we've created together, not just by talking about it, not just by interacting with content, but also just by being there, by being proactive, by caring, by talking to each other, by just being part of the community and really trying to get people to go out to vote, to understand what's at stake, to understand what's being threatened by some people like Viktor Orbán, who now are being punished, who are now going to have to face the electoral popularity and what they've done to the country that they were supposed to serve. And so this is not just a victory for the Hungarians, which I hope they have a good drink tonight and have a good victory at home, but this is a victory for everyone in the world who loves liberal democracy, and especially for us Europeans. And thank you so much for being part of the stream. I'm sorry I could not read all your super chats or pronounce your names correctly. And thank you for big special thank you to Loan David Picolorang. Picolorang. I hope I said that right for that very nice comment as well. So thank you, all of you, for being here from the bottom of my heart. This was super enjoyable, and not much else to be said.
Exactly. You can see in the chat, someone said you can make fun about cheese for the Netherlands. I mean, I hope you're a bit more creative than that. But yeah, that's one thing, Paul. And guys, let's see all the Hungarian. I'm going to be very cheesy at the end. Let's see all of the Hungarian and EU flags in the chat. And with that, awesome. Thanks, everyone. And let's call it a good night. But let's see some flags.
Let's see some flags. And while they're doing that, just a quick shout out for our social media. So we do have an Instagram account at EU Made Simple with underscores there between the EU Made and Simple. We have also the language channels. Be sure to check them out. Leave a sub for your respective language. We have most of the EU languages covered. We also have the Spotify. Big shout out to Spotify. That is EU Made Simple. Just search that up on Spotify. You should be able to follow. We're trying to grow that platform, and you can find our live streams there if you've not been able to join us live on YouTube. And that's it. And Discord. I always forget that one. Yeah. Maybe you're better at me than shouting out the Discord, Lambertus.
We discuss politics all day, every day. Check out the link in the description if you want to, and see you there. Thanks, everyone, and see you in the next stream. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.